April 2nd, 2025. Would anyone like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Yes, good.
Yes, it is. Everything's on.
Liz, would you like to do it? Okay.
Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'd like to formally welcome Beth to the group, to the table, since the last election. Welcome, Beth. And I would like to call for an election for some new officers.
You missed public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was getting ready. Public comment, my apologies.
Garrett 8 High Park Circle. I noticed at the March 5th meeting of the board, summer hours were approved. I had a question about that. With the reduced hours, is that being done for budget reasons?
Do you want us to answer or do you want to answer?
You can answer.
That was based on staffing. So because we have a lot of people, people take vacations in the summer, we adjusted the hours so that we would have staffing to be able to assist with programming and schedule cover shifts as scheduled. We did it last year and it seemed to really work well. We didn't have a lot of issues with staffing, coverage, and things of that nature.
Could I ask how many employees are there total at the library, full and part-time?
So right now there's 16, yeah, because we just lost one. 16 total, and a majority, I believe, now I have to do math. 8 are full-time. 7 are full-time, and the 9. Thank you. I told you. I've been here since 8:30. The 9 are part-time. Sorry.
And focusing, if I could, thank you. Focusing, if I could, for a moment on the Thursday evening closure at 5 p.m.
Yes.
Could I ask the goal there?
Well, we felt that was because we close at 5 on Fridays, and we close at 5 on Fridays and 5 on Saturdays. And Thursday evening was one of the evenings I believe we looked at as far as like busyness, and that was one of the evenings that we felt that we could reduce those hours without having a big effect on people coming in.
Typically for 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. shift, how many people are working upstairs during those 3 hours?
Yeah, 4. Do you want to? 4.
So 12 people are off already. 4 working, 12 not during that time.
Right. And when we do the reduction in hours, it's the staff hours get shifted to different hours during the week to accommodate the programming. Because usually in summer we have a lot more programming due to the summer reading program. So those staff get moved to areas for coverage related to that. Because we do a lot more daytime programming in the summer because kids are out of school, and so that's where that shift is.
I would also note that summer, many people tend to have more time to read in the summer, going on vacation, going away for the weekend, long weekends.
Yep.
Thursday night kind of feels like a logical time. If you're going away for a long weekend, taking Friday off, you might stop in the library on a Thursday evening to get a book. So just one person's perspective, I guess I would ask for a reconsideration, specifically that 5 to 8 p.m. 3-hour block on Thursdays during the summer. I'd love to see the libraries be open during those 3 hours.
Thank you for sharing.
Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive, Londonderry. I have a couple of questions, also based on what this gentleman said. I don't know of any company that adjusts their hours based on the fact that people go on vacation. Summertime, to me, you would want to have much more availability because you have teachers are off, kids are off. I just don't. And according to your staffing, which you gave me, you now have 8.3 people available per hour that you're open now. But I've never heard of a company anywhere. I mean, the fire department, the police department, the town hall, they don't adjust their hours just because you have people going on vacation. So I think the rationale for that doesn't meet the need of the community of having things open. It doesn't make any sense. I only bring that up because that was brought up. I have a huge concern about the money being spent for insurance. Huge concern. In a quick did you break it down per month that you're spending for a policy? It's exorbitant amount per month. And I understand that you had the human resources, but you're like a little business. Did you by any chance think of going to an agency and saying, what can you do for me for insurance? The woman I exercise with every single morning, I told her what you were going to be paying for people for insurance, and she almost fell over dead to think that that was the kind of money that was being spent. She has done many small businesses with, anywhere from 5 to 30 people with excellent insurance, and she said, I've never spent that kind of money. So I really,
that is 3 minutes, just to be aware.
well, I really would like you to take into consideration, we don't have any money at the state. We're in a mess. So I just would really like you to take into consideration the fact that before you jump into a policy that is going to cost between $1,300 and $4,500 a month per person, that you do some shopping around outside of just having one person. So.
Well, unless it's,
Okay.
if we're gonna have to deal with it later.
That's fine. Yep.
Okay, I'd rather keep things moving. We don't need back and forth, right?
Okay.
Hi, my name is Dan Bouchard, I'm your liaison to the town council. The other day my ears were ringing like crazy, so I said, I'm gonna watch this library trustee meeting. Sure enough, my name was mentioned quite a few times, alright, and didn't hear from anybody, but I did do some homework for you on the insurance.
Thank you.
So at some point, I don't know if you're gonna discuss it today, I'd like to let you know what I found, alright? So, do it later, that's fine, after you do your election.
Can we call you back up when we get to that
Absolutely,
part of the agenda?
absolutely,
Thank you.
yeah, there's a lot of information I can share with you.
Awesome, thank you
on
so
it.
much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good? Donna?
Donna Plant, Assistant Director of the Library. I wanted to speak during public comment because I feel that if I'm going to present something as an individual being impacted, that I feel like this is the best route. As you know, I usually prefer to advocate on behalf of the whole staff when I'm speaking, but in this case
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I have a very hoarse voice at the moment. In this case, I feel like I need to say my piece as an individual who's personally impacted by the change that you're making tonight to the health insurance. I am one of 2 staff members that is affected by the removal of the longevity benefit in the policy. From the trustee's perspective, I absolutely understand this change. I understand your position. I understand the politics at play. I understand the budget. What's difficult for me in this scenario is that there was no outreach from the board. There was no contact saying, we understand that you are going to be directly affected by this, that in 3 months' time, you are going to be financially responsible for more of your health insurance. And we want you to be part of the conversation. We want your input because we value you as an employee. There was none of that. And that's really difficult for me. I mean, I'm coming to this not with blinders on. I see what's happening, across the country, just like all of you do, that public servants are not exactly in a safe place right now, that a lot of employees are losing their jobs, losing their benefits, and I'm definitely grateful for my position and my benefits, even with the change. But actions speak louder than words, and your inaction in this particular case speaks loudly to me. So I just want to say that. And with that being said, I know that after you make this change, Erin will distribute that updated policy to the board, the staff. But I would ask that the two of us that are directly impacted by this get something in writing directly from the board. So that's my ask.
If I might,
Jan?
my only comment is, we met last week because of all of a sudden we were turned around and told we had to discuss this instantly. So it wasn't like there was a long time period that would have, and we haven't made any decision because we did not do any voting. We just were discussing various options and things that had been put on the table for us, but that was all. So there has been no decision, and the concern is we've had many of the concerns that have already been voiced, but I hear what you're saying too. But it wasn't because we were just ignoring the fact that we needed to talk to people. We have no time to really say, oh, let's go over this and spend time and figure this on a reasonable manner. We didn't have that time. We weren't allotted that time ourselves.
I understand, but at the same time, you knew you had to make a decision tonight, and you had that week to reach out. You don't have hundreds of employees, you have 16, and 2 of us are really impacted by this decision. And I feel like you could have done your due diligence to make us feel valued, despite knowing you needed to make this change by allowing us to be heard. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thanks, Dawn. Thanks. Okay. Good time at the end, too, depending on how many hours this goes. All right. Election time. I would accept a nomination for a new chair. Nancy.
So I would nominate with pleasure Liz Thomas.
Second, Nancy? Okay. Is there any other nominations? Laura?
I'll nominate Christine.
Okay. Is there a second? No?
Sorry.
Okay.
Out of it.
Any other nominations or discussion?
Did she get a second?
She did.
Okay, thank you. I want to make sure.
Okay.
Just a reminder, make sure we're saying our names and
Yep.
what we speak, sorry.
So we can do a roll call vote for Liz and then Christine if we need to, if that's okay, just so it's clear for the video. Okay. So Liz, I'll start with you. Will Liz Thomas be the new chair of the library trustees?
If the trustees would like to vote me in, I would be honored to do so.
Okay. Jan,
Yes, what?
is your vote for Liz? Or,
Yes, I would vote for Liz.
okay. Laura?
No.
Okay. Christine?
No.
Okay. I vote yes.
I vote yes for Liz.
Beth Marco, yes for Liz.
Okay. So it seems that, Christine, I'm sorry. Okay. So Liz, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to come over here now, or would you like to wait a few minutes and just let us finish the elections and
Let's
then
go
we can
through
switch
the
seats?
elections.
Okay.
I think generally we've gone to the next meeting where the chair takes over, but if you wanna change
I
that,
think
you can.
I'd rather I can be here to help Liz, but I'd
Okay,
rather have
that's
Liz
fine.
just take over.
That's what we've done traditionally.
I know that's what the other town boards typically do, right? Okay, so we need a vice chair. Beth?
I would like to nominate Helen
Okay.
and Beth Marco.
I'm sorry, who was the nomination for?
Me.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to be vice chair? I'm happy to take it. I'm happy to help out again. I like being the Robin to Batman instead of being Batman, so I can give it a shot. So anyway, just in case. Okay. All right. Liz,
Aye.
you vote yes for me.
Yes.
Okay. Jan,
Jan McLaughlin, I vote yes for Helen.
Laura,
Maura Ryan, yes.
Christine Fitzgerald, yes. Helen Palmieri,
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Beth Mariko, yes.
Okay, all right, I'm staying on this side of the table then. Now we need to discuss, treasurer and secretary. Any nominations for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Jan McAloughlin for
Okay.
treasurer.
I would second that.
Okay, so Liz, and then seconded by Nancy.
Do you want to do it? Yes, I will do it if elected.
Okay. Good with everybody?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanna make sure
I know,
everyone
well,
wants
no
to
one,
do it.
everyone can say no. All right, just to be on the safe side, Liz, can we go down the line just to be
Aye.
sure? Aye. Jan, vote for yourself.
I
Laura?
Rain, yes.
Christine Fitzgerald, yes.
Okay, Helen Palmieri, yes.
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Beth Mariko, yes.
Okay. And now if Liz is the chair, we need a new secretary.
I would like to nominate Christine for Fitzgerald for secretary. She had said, I don't know.
I can't do it.
Okay,
I
all
can't,
right.
sorry. I can pitch in here and there, but I can't do it full time.
I understand, because in September you said you might be over the position. And I know it's not what you wanted, but I understand that.
No, that's fine.
May I also make another
Okay,
nomination?
sure.
I would like to nominate Beth Mariko as secretary.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
second.
Second for Jan? Okay.
Can I nominate Maura?
Sure. You'd like to nominate Maura? Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Seconded by Nancy? Okay. And we're gonna stick with, we still have our recording secretary as of now, at least,
Yes.
until a decision is made. So whoever takes over doesn't have to take over tonight.
Today, no.
Yes.
Okay, I think that makes the most sense. Okay. So Liz, we'll vote first for Beth.
Oh, for Beth.
For
Aye.
Beth. Aye. Okay. Jan?
I
Okay. Maura?
No.
No. Aye.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Beth Mariko, aye.
Go through Laura again.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
okay. Sorry, this is a lot of.
She's nominated.
Pretty Laura, my apologies. Voting for Moira for secretary. Liz? No.
Oh, no, you do.
Okay,
Technically?
You do, absolutely.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, because it was nominated.
just in case.
no, nay.
Okay, nay?
Jan McLaughlin, nay.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Christine Fitzgerald, yes.
Helen Palmieri, nay.
Nancy Hendricks, nay.
Beth Mariko, nay.
Okay. All right, Donna?
Sorry, can I just note that you didn't do that with the chair vote?
Oh, I didn't do the follow-up vote?
Yeah,
I apologize.
yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
in case you wanted to be
Christine,
both.
do you want me to go through?
Yeah, there's no reason to, because we already know.
Okay. Liz, would you like to come down to this side of the table? Would you like,
Yes.
or do you wanna just serve from there? Your choice.
I'm fine here.
Okay,
We don't
we'll stay here
need
for
to
tonight and
disrupt
we'll
anything.
reshuffle
Yes,
next
yeah.
time? Okay,
Yeah.
great, okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to throw them over to me and I can let you know since I'm being
Okay,
rejected.
great. You can throw paper at me
Okay,
if I'm
all
doing
right, very good.
something wrong, okay. Okay.
That way.
Continuing on, we're now up to the secretary's report. That would be me. So, I have two hats on today. Okay, we are going to start with approval of the minutes for the meeting of February 5th, if you look to your packet. And I guess reading through there, hopefully everyone has had an opportunity. And we will continue to make sure that everyone gets packets the week before so that you have plenty of time to do it. Donna, you have a question?
I just wanted to share something that Beth, your transcriber, noted. That this is for the February 5th meeting. She said for the motion to go into non-public, no one moved or seconded. You just all started the roll call vote, so that's why she hadn't added anything. And I had a note that there was a motion in a second, so I just wanted to leave it up to you which way you wanted to go with it, whether you wanted to go with Beth's or my revision.
I agree that both of us had, I think I had seconded and you had, it was approved. It was approved, but she's diligently looked at the tapes and somehow it didn't get caught. What I would like to do right now is to go back and take a vote to seal the minutes, since there's a question of the authenticity of that sealing.
It wasn't the sealing.
It wasn't-
It was
wasn't-
just the motion to go into non-public.
Oh, into non-public,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Into the,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she
Well-
was saying that there wasn't a motion or a second, but there was a roll call, and I had noted that there was a motion and a second in my notes.
Shall we then
So that's up to you.
say give the motion again to make it official?
I just think we have to decide which one to go.
Well, yeah, you have to choose if you want Donna's notes or
Or Beth.
Okay.
Beth's notes. I don't
Then
know if
I
we
would
can
s-
do it again.
I would say Donna's notes only because, you know, both of us recall it,
Yeah, she was here.
you know.
That's fine.
And I think it's hard, cause I don't think, no
Yeah.
matter how hard we try, everything gets picked up by everything.
No,
Um,
no, and that's why it's important we identify ourselves and speak clearly. So, should we take a vote on that?
Okay.
Do I have a second to,
We have to make a motion.
yeah,
So
go
I,
ahead.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from February the 5th.
With
the
the change.
I'm sorry, with the change, yes.
Okay.
With the change that Donna noted from her
Mhm.
notes and her already. Okay, I'll second.
Okay.
Helen Palmieri, second.
Okay, can we take a roll call?
Sure.
Okay. Liz Thomas, yes.
Chair McLaughlin, yes.
Skip me because I'm gonna check that.
Okay, we'll go back to you.
Christine Fitzgerald, yes.
Helen Palmieri, yes.
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Am I able to vote because
No,
I
you
wasn't
weren't
in the
there.
board?
Don't vote.
No,
Yeah.
you abstain.
Stay with Beth Merkel.
Okay, yes. But this is just for this, not for the non-public, correct?
Mhm.
Yes,
Correct minutes.
it's just the regular
Yes,
minutes.
that's correct. Okay, then the vote carries. We'll be using that
Okay.
version, okay?
Okay, so,
Okay, we're ready to move on then to the February 5th draft minutes? Okay.
This was the first, no,
It's March.
March,
okay, got it.
March 5th. We just voted on the February 5th, to my understanding.
Well,
Or
did we
non-public.
do the non-public, did we do the non-public ones?
No.
No, we're not going to, no, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, let's move on to the March 5th draft minutes now. Does anyone have any corrections in there?
I do.
I do.
Okay,
Beth Marco, line 199 for the public comment. It gave me the wrong address.
Did guys
99,
move in the
oh.
meeting?
No, I'm not Christine's neighbor, so,
What is your address?
4 Westwood Drive,
Westwood?
Westwood.
Westwood, okay.
I'm sorry, what was your correction, Beth?
4 Westwood Drive,
Oh, Westford,
Westwood.
Westwood, okay.
We're all having
Now
trouble.
we can find you. Okay, get that noted. Anyone have
You have
any
it.
other changes?
I do.
Did you vote? Oh,
So
no, that-
line 70, I just wanted to point out the,
I'm sorry, what line did you say?
line 70,
70, oh my hearing.
the, public comment should be, Maria Baroud.
There is no public comment on line 70.
in
In March 5th?
Yeah, there
Oh,
is.
170,
Oh, 170, my apologies. See, I told you my hearing. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay.
And what was the change, Christine? I'm sorry.
It just said, a person from the public, it should be Maria Baroud.
Oh, Marie Baruch, thank you. Yes,
I just had three more revisions.
okay.
So, and I did send these over to Beth already. Obviously it's still up to you whether you want to approve them or not. There was no note of what time Jan left during non-public session, and I wasn't sure if you wanted that in the attendance information at line 9, or if you wanted it at line 187, which was where Beth had noted that Jan wasn't present for the rest of the meeting, but typically we try to note the time. So I had a time of 8:39 p.m. So whichever place you want it updated.
Okay, would it be appropriate to add it at the beginning when it says Jan McLaughlin left before the end of the meeting? If we put it right then, at the time right then,
Mhm.
then it would carry through the rest of the report, that we would know when she left.
That works.
So I would, does everyone, does that make sense to people? Okay, so then we will say that she left at, and what was the time exactly?
8:39 p.m.
8:39, okay.
I had lines 175 and 181. This was regarding the RSA that was noted going into non-public, I believe. 175. So prior to entering non-public, I remember that you all discussed that you were not going to go in for the reason of 91A:3 to B. You were only going in under A. So the B needs to be removed in both places.
What was the other line you said?
175 and 181. So one's the motion and one's the
Oh, gotcha.
statement.
So therefore, it'll just read A.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the last thing I had was line 185. There was a slight, there needs to be a slight change to the time that you returned from non-public in order to match the non-public minutes. So you could, if the time that I recorded was 9:14 p.m., you could adjust that here, or you could change it on the non-public minutes. That's your choice.
Okay, if 14 matches the
Non-public.
non-public, I would suggest that we use that. Okay. And actually, going back, looking at this, I would say at the beginning when they talk about trustees, since everyone's position was, listed, that we should always put Jan McLaughlin, a treasurer, Jan McLaughlin, and that will be the same as in February, should be added. Okay, because they were not,
Oh, because you have Helen.
Yeah, other
Yeah.
people.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Yep, you have the other positions, the elected positions. Okay, any questions on these so far? Then moving right
I
along.
have one question.
Yes, Laura.
Are we using the lines 192 to 195 to represent the non-public meeting?
Are you on March 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or do we have a separate document for that?
No, we have a separate
We
non-public
do have
document.
separate
Okay.
document.
Everybody was
Alright,
sent
just
the
really
separate one.
clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is it would it be in the packet that you gave out tonight?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's
So
not
you-
going to be in the packet you gave out tonight because I didn't think it was appropriate for me to continue to make copies
Okay.
and have them out and about. But it
Yeah.
is, you were sent it. I did believe sent it to Helen and Liz to share with the board, and I believe it was in your folders.
Okay, I know I have a copy of it. Does the board feel like we need to run upstairs and make copies for everyone?
I'm just hesitant to continue to make a lot of copies for a
Yes,
non-public
no, I
session.
understand that, yeah, and we
but
should
it's
have
up to the
probably
board.
forwarded it too, and I apologize that
That's
it
okay.
wasn't forwarded. Laura, would you like to look at this copy?
No, I'm sure.
Oh, you have one, okay. Oh, then Christine did get one. Okay, so, we're basically going to be looking at and voting on these. If it's anything that was discussed during non-public, we wouldn't be talking about that specifically. But if someone has any objections to a line number, they can refer to it, okay? Yes?
I don't have an objection, but I have an addition. I just wanted to add that we stated that we do,
We can't
exit-
discuss what we
We can't
discussed in the
discuss.
meeting. That was why it's non-public.
That's not,
Oh, okay.
fall under the 91A. I just wanna
Okay.
say that we stated we conduct exit interviews, that's not
I'm
a specific person.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that one more time? Yeah.
We stated in that non-public that we conduct exit interviews.
Oh, okay,
That's it.
good, that's
That's all I
good,
wanna add.
great, okay.
It's been over 72 hours anyway, so we should be,
Well, these have been sealed,
Um,
so we can't.
once,
If
they
there's,
weren't sealed for a specific amount of time.
no.
once
I
they're
was-
sealed, they're sealed
Hold
for.
on, let Liz respond to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I respond to that?
You're
We
the
have
chair,
ex-
of course you can.
We have done a lot of, I've interviewed the Secretary of State's legal department, and Erin has reached out to other sources, and we've done a lot of research on this. We have been told, or I have been told by the attorney for the Secretary of State, is that when the board votes to seal the minutes, the public do not have a right at that point to be to have them shared, okay? So basically, that came directly from, so once you seal them, what you can do, the board can vote at some point to unseal them if they choose to, okay? So that can be done. But once they're sealed, they stay sealed. What happens, they said, is an appropriate length of time is up to 2 to 3 years that the library can review things that are sealed, and if they determine that it's no longer pertinent to the business, they can purge those records at that time. Anywhere from, they said 2 to 5 years, you have the right to go in and just purge them at that point. But as far as sharing them with the general public, the sources that we've reached out to have said that non-public do not ever, they don't, if they're sealed at the time or at some point, then they will not be shared with the public. Christine, do you have more, something, a question on that? Okay. I just want to make sure everyone understands that we're going to the source, okay? And the other thing is, I'm going to throw this out really quick, okay? Our group of people here come here every month, and they keep us on our toes, and they've made a lot of comments, and sometimes we haven't followed it up, and I'm going to apologize to all of you. You know, I want to assure you, I have heard people multiple times saying that we need 91A training. It is set up. It's open to all of the board trustees, and it's going to be at Moose Hill on April 17th at 7 o'clock at the budget meeting. And what they've done, the town has done, is they're inviting all of the other trustees from the other board members, so that it's one big meeting and that everyone has the opportunity to get that. So thank you for telling us. Thank you for keeping us on our toes. We're working on it. Okay? Yes?
Madam Chair, I just want to make sure, I just checked my email, we did send out the non-public minutes to this group.
Yes,
already.
yes, I
So
sent
they
an
received
email
it.
out to everyone, but I just wanted everyone to
They
know
were
that
already sent.
that's being answered.
Oh,
Okay?
so
So, thank you. So now we're up to, are we ready to then accept all of these and put them into, you know, okay, so then.
Can I just clarify, we're accepting, you guys are gonna accept the non-public minutes for February 5th and March 5th?
Yes.
Okay, I just
Yes.
wanted to clarify.
Yep. And are you comfortable, Maura, with all that now?
With the changes we've specified.
With that change, yeah, yep.
That was my understanding.
Can, Beth Morocco, trustee, can we, motion for them in separate votes, because I can't vote on the
Yes,
previous
okay,
one.
good, okay. One more question, you, Beth. You did get the change that, for the March 5th, change that Maura just said? Did you get that?
I'm not sure if she has that document, because she wasn't a
Okay,
trustee at
and
that
then
point.
just one more time, I started
I
writing.
have it though, so I can update her.
Okay.
After.
We just need to add that we conduct exit interviews with reports.
Okay, that's exactly, yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. I would like to now make a motion to accept the minutes of the meeting of the closed session, non-public session for February 5th.
I'll second it.
Second, okay. Can we take a roll call, please?
Beth won't vote, right, because she
No,
wasn't
Beth
there.
will not,
Right.
because she was not,
Okay.
yeah.
I, Nancy Hendricks.
I, Helen Palmieri.
I, Sue Fitzgerald.
I'm Maura Ryan.
I, Jan McLaughlin.
I, Liz Thomas. Okay, and this next one, Beth, you'll be voting on also. Okay, so now I'm going to make a motion to accept the minutes of the non-public meeting on March 5th as stated with the change that Maura made. Okay,
Public and non-public.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
We vote both,
yeah.
okay.
We can vote for both at this
Okay.
time. Yep.
Give me a second.
Beth, would
Sorry.
you like to start the vote?
Sure.
There, we need a second.
I'm sorry, there wasn't a second.
I'm sorry, what?
There wasn't a second.
Oh,
need
there
a
was no second.
Second.
Jan second.
Jan McLaughlin, second.
Okay.
So you
Beth?
want second? I, Beth Morocco.
Nancy Hendricks abstains because I was not present.
Okay.
I, Helen Palmieri.
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
I'm Laura Ryan.
I, Jan McLaughlin.
I, Liz Thomas. Okay. Moving along.
Just a quick question. Beth wasn't at the March 5th meeting. She just voted on it.
She was on, she was here for the, well, she wasn't here as a board.
Yeah, I didn't vote on it.
No.
I only voted on the March 26th one.
I thought we were talking
Oh,
about
I thought we were
March
talking about
5th.
March
We didn't
5th.
bring
I'm
up the
sorry.
March 26th.
Sorry.
There's too many Marches. So that was March
That
5th.
was March 5th.
So we need, I think we need to do that again because Beth was not here.
Sorry.
I think
Okay.
there was some confusion.
Yeah. That's why I was.
So should we do that again?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay,
Oh,
so we're talking about
okay.
March 5th.
March 5th, Beth was not at the meeting, so
Right.
Morocco abstained.
let's strike her eye. Do we want to take another vote, or can we just strike her eye?
I think it would be, just take the vote. again.
Let's take another vote. Would you like to start, Nancy?
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't here. Okay, well, then that's it. There we go.
Another one.
I, Helen Palmieri.
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
I'm Laura Ryan.
I, Jan McLaughlin. Up
I,
until
Liz
eight- up
Thomas.
until 8:59 or
And again,
39.
I will abstain because I was not.
Yes,
And Beth Morocco
and
abstained.
thank you all for keeping me honest,
That's
okay?
all right.
These are
Yeah, we're
things
not
that
rushing
you have to
this.
learn by, so I promise I am trainable. I'm like a seal.
A lot.
Okay,
So-
so now,
Okay, question.
Well, so, to my understanding, I just so the board is clear, I did add the March 26th minutes in the packet, but they're not on the agenda. So, and we just had the meeting, so I added them with the intent that you guys can review them and then vote at the next meeting.
That's-
If that's something the board
that's
wants to do,
something
that's
that
fine. That was
we
my
wanted
intent
to
on that.
curiously though, we're still gonna have to vote tonight, right? About not
Regarding the health insurance,
re-
yes.
regarding the health insurance, but we will defer since people didn't have time to look at the minutes. We will defer those till the
That,
next
it's up to the
meeting.
board. That was my intent on adding them in the packet because they're not on the agenda.
I personally think it makes good sense, but is there anyone who wants to?
It's good practice not to vote on something if it's not on the agenda.
Yes, yeah.
That's just.
But one could say that it is under the agenda as far as the fact that it's underneath, it's about we're doing the insurance, okay.
This personnel policy, insurance,
No.
health insurance, down at,
Okay.
new business.
Yeah.
But it doesn't discuss the minute meeting
Okay.
of the meeting, okay? All right. Okay, we're up to Jan, the treasurer's.
Hi, we have money.
We have money, that's good.
Oh, be careful. Don't do that too loud.
Well, that is the question. So, one moment, please, let me go to that folder. In the, account, that's considered the book account, we currently have $41,329.19. And that is a result of us having received the second half of the book funds for the current fiscal year. And in the trustee account, we have a balance of, and I'm going to say approximately because I have not verified I have not verified this bank statement, but I assume it's correct, $41,935.01. So those are the two accounts that we have. I'd like to take a look at the budget performance report and talk about a few items here. If you'll notice, is everybody okay with the money we just talked about? Okay. So if you'll notice as we go down the lines here, if you go to line I guess it's 4240 tuition reimbursement. I know Erin spoke to us about this last week or sometime recently, but anyway, we're at 105%. So There's a note there. Also, under worker comp benefits, let's hope we don't have any more illnesses or injuries, 100% there. We have our, we've spent more on water this year than we have in the past. Is that because we've had a few water leaks? I'm just thinking, just.
The leaks are from rain, not pipes.
It's 112% already on water. Are we on Pennachuck or are we on Manchester?
Pennachuck.
Pennachuck. Oh, that's why we spent more. Okay. I just know from having moved to a Pennachuck home, it's more. Dues and sub-services. That sounds very strange. We eat food.
Subscriptions.
Oh, subscriptions. Thank you. 114% at this point.
Is that being capped at this point?
Well, we have to talk about all those things. We get down to, where was the book line? Did I miss the book line?
It's down there.
Some periodical, it's
Haven't gotten there yet.
4670.
4670.
Yeah, it's at 4670.
Okay, haven't gotten there yet. Okay, right. So books and periodicals is 96%.
Postage is at?
Postage is 182%. Let's see. And those are the ones that are over for this evening. So I would like to have a discussion about, in regards to how we're going to handle the budget and going forward as far as when things are up and over the where they are anticipated to be at this this point. We're 7 months into the fiscal year, and in a number of, we've exceeded our budget line. I understand we're a bottom line budget, but we still have to at least be keeping our eyes on where we are with. We can't really do much with water because people are going to be drinking out of the water fountain and all of those things. But we do have to take a look at on printing services is another one that's 90% at this point. That's 4550 is 90%. So I do want to have a discussion about what we do in the future or how we go forward on doing those.
John Plant.
I just wanted to add that later on the agenda under new business for summer reading funding, we are this is going to come up again in terms of the budget, so I don't know if you want to wait to have that discussion then, since the summer reading is going to impact a budget line potentially too.
Yeah, I just think we need to come up with what the process is, that's all.
I think we should look at, when we get to that line, let's look at what the expenses are and see if we need to do any cutting, on that. I'm sorry.
Procedure-wise, I just wanted to note too that it could be something you put into the purchasing policy that you're going to discuss later too.
Yep, okay. I do want to note that Garen had told us that she's capped on the tuition reimbursement. Some things are controllable, some things are not. Compensation is obviously not controllable, but what we do need, we need to look at everything that is controllable and see, printing is not, you could say it's controllable, but, you either get copies of something or you don't type of thing. So, but this is absolutely something we need to start working on and looking at now. We're 7 months into? Let's not wait till 11 months into the budget to find out that we're in bad shape. So I think we need to take this my suggestion is we need to create a committee to look at this seriously offline, and Jen could head off.
Madam Chair, I just have a, I would like us to come up with some kind of not a policy, but once thing gets to above a certain amount, I think we should be looking, maybe like 90% or whatever. we should be looking at whether we're gonna continue to just, charge things to that budget line, or whether we've closed that budget line and are going on something different. I know that means we have issues with our, the materials, the books and periodicals, or we will very shortly. I think that's it's one of those things we have to take a look at. We can't just continue to assume we're gonna be able to, like the postage, we don't have very much in the postage line anyway, and we can move funds around, but if we're gonna move them, we need to know where we're gonna move them from in order to put them where we're gonna put them to. So, I would just like us to at least, pause continuing to order in those budget lines, or continue to increase expenses in those budget lines if we have already approached 90% or more. That's
I,
where I'd like to see it.
Maura?
I just wanna ask a clarifying question. When you guys are talking about the workman's comp benefits, that's the premiums, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, see, that's not.
We don't have any control over that.
No,
That's
we don't have
the
any
town.
that's one we can't control. That's not one we haven't
No.
can't control. Just like the water, we can't really control that either.
Is it okay if I speak? So, when you mentioned move money around, we can't really do that with the budget. We
No.
can't move money from one line item to another. And the reason that some of those are over is because we're practicing the it's not an art, but the idea that if you buy something that's related to, let's say, postage in this case, we're not going to take it out of another line item because we want to be accurate on what that postage line item looks like, and that's for the purpose of looking at it next year when we look at our budget and we say, wow, we went over quite a bit in postage, maybe we need to put a little bit more money in that line item. I think that's where the perspective of why we do it that way. It's a true spending of what that line item is, what's coming out of that line item, if that makes sense. I'm not saying we can't look at this and say, where should we really, but that's, I think, why it's over in some of those items, because we're accurately spending the appropriate, what we're buying is coming out of the appropriate line, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
I would say by law, we are responsible, the board as well as the management is responsible to accurately record what the costs are in the
Right.
proper places.
Yep.
Okay? My point at this point is, we know we have, the book line is, doesn't explain the cost of digital downloads or anything. I'll be working with the town, with the town budget I've already talked to the budget, department to see what we can do. And then if we have to go through the town manager and the town council, we need to get these clarified, a few of these. Others of it, there's controllable items and there's non-controllable items. If utilities raise way beyond our expectation during the year, all we can do is hit it the next year and correct it, but we can't do it that time. But I think that, and I'll be with you just a minute, I think we really need to start in the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, we need to evaluate. Not wait till, halfway through the year or 3/4 of the way to the year. We need to start tracking the spending in the columns from the first quarter on. And then that way we know right away, okay, we know we're gonna overspend, it's controllable, we can cut back. We know we're gonna overspend, it's not controllable, we can't cut back. We need to properly record, as you're doing, the true expenses. By law, you need to do that. But we need to also take some control by doing I would say a quarterly assessment at least. And then towards the end of the year, we might have to look at it monthly just to, at the end of the year, because then everything's gonna come at us, okay? That would be my recommendation. Do you want me to make, a recommendation and bring it to a vote of good practice that we should start to follow?
Do we already do that somewhere along the way? We asked for quarterly reporting.
Well, we get quarterly reporting.
Yeah.
We get quarterly reporting, but, we asked for monthly reporting, and monthly discussion about where we are on the budget.
Is that what this is? Or are you
Well,
looking for something different?
No, I'm not
I'm
looking
a
for,
little confused too.
I'm not looking for a new piece of paper.
Okay, just to
Um,
clarify.
But what and I don't know, maybe other people are, but what I'm looking for is, I think we need to have a discussion about, how we handle the fact that we're already at 96%, and I don't know as of what date, I mean, it says as of tonight, but I don't know as of what date. I mean, this only goes through, the end of February, and I know that we had two different,
Oh, okay.
and we had two different more of checks in about $9,000 in March, which isn't recorded on here yet, I don't think. So,
Yes.
So the checks you sign come out, those payments are coming from the book account, so
Right.
they are already accounted for on the town ledger, because
already
that
counted
was,
on the town ledger.
yeah. They're
Okay.
coming from that 41,000 that you mentioned earlier.
Okay, even though the checks aren't listed on this one.
If you just signed them, they would be on next month's list.
I didn't just sign them, I mean, I was signing them during the month of March.
I don't know what you're holding up.
This is a
I
check
guess.
register for February.
So for February, so the March check register would have the ones you just signed.
Yep.
Right, so if only the February ones have been coming out here, but you're saying that they've come out of here.
They've already come out of here because you've gotten the second half of the book budget.
This,
So the 41,000 that you have in the book account is
Mhm.
the second half of the book budget that's already
Right.
on the ledger. So there is no more of those checks that you just signed. There's no more money coming from the town ledger.
right,
That 9,000 that you're
they're
mentioning.
coming out of the book account.
Okay,
I think there's still a confusion, it seems, I could be misreading, related to the accounts that we have. So we have the town accounts, which is this, and we have the trustees account, which is where our book money goes. We have the trustees account, which they get, in that account goes donations, fines,
Book sale.
book sale, things like that. Then there's the book account, which is also under the trustees, that has the book money in it, and that comes from the town. So you see like where it says 96% spent, because we already received that money from the town and it's in the book account. Does that make sense? So
So the checks you signed are coming
From
from the balance of the book account.
book account,
not
not-
the town ledger.
nice.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overspeak.
So, all right, if that's the case, then how do we spend $140,000 last year on that account?
Because towards the end of the fiscal year, what ends up happening is if we're running low in the book account, we need to start spending again from the town account. But that has not happened yet, because there's still money
We're
in
not
the
there
book
yet.
account.
Yep, we still have money.
Okay.
So it's not as bad, I don't think.
And
as-
may I make one more note too, that I would argue that the budget's actually right on target right now, because you have 1 quarter left and we are at 74% spent of the budget. So I would say you're in like the perfect spot.
Right. I would agree.
Not by line number.
Not
but
by line item, but
total.
by
No.
bottom line.
By bottom line, we,
Traditionally, you guys always, we always give something back to the town. We always are, you're very conscientious of the amount that is spent. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's important that line number, and that's why it's our problem that we need to correct, so that when you report things, that, you guys, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are doing your job, okay? You're putting the charges where they belong. Our job, and I think Jen hopefully that's where she was going to, is that we need to be more efficient in tracking cost, in looking at line item numbers, in determining if they are properly identified. And we need to, if they're not, then we need to work with the town to get things properly identified, so that from year to year, you guys don't get yelled at and we don't get yelled at. okay? So we need to be more proactive, looking and working with you with the budgets, but we also need to fix the problems that are consistently a problem. You know, and as far as we understand, we want you reporting it the way properly, the way it should be, by law, you need to. But we need to we also understand that there's costs that are sunk, and that you're gonna pay that amount every year, and it's gonna stay pretty standard, except for, you know, as prices go up for the maintenance of buildings and stuff like that. And utilities is not controllable. To an extent, you know, printing's not controllable, we can cut back somehow, find out a way to cut back, but to an extent, what we need to print the same way. What we need to, you know, when people are taking out digital downloads and it's hitting our book line, well, what are we gonna tell people? Okay, well, you hit your limit, you can't take any more digital downloads for the rest of the year? I hope we don't have to, okay? But that's all things, as a new board, we need to look at, and we need to just kind of get a routine that works for the whole group, for your group and our group, that work together symmetrically, so that we can all do our job better. Not you guys, we can do our job better. Maura?
Just a quick question, if anybody knows this, have we ever given money to the town, and if so, how much?
So we have given money back to the town every year. I have documented, I don't have it with me now, but I can certainly share that with the board. Exactly how much we've given back to the town and what years, I can certainly send that to the board. There was way prior, I don't even remember the year, but it was a long time ago, we actually did not give money back to the town. It was like $20,000 that we went over. I don't know the reasoning for that. It could have been a maintenance issue. It could have been, there's no documentation that I have. But every year, we have given money back to the town. In fact, the first year that I was here, we gave back over $200,000 because of the salary changes, and we were still in COVID. But every year after that, we have been giving money back as well.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we have actually spent all of the COVID funds, correct? We don't have anything that's allocated.
We haven't had that for a while.
That's gone.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. And then on top of that, if we're, how much does the fundraising money, like the book sale and stuff, how much does that offset?
That goes into the trustees account. It does not affect the town budget. So you guys can choose to use that money in ways, for example, you could say, you know what, we have a total of whatever amount in the trustees account. Why don't you take $10,000 and use that to buy books, or use that to buy a printer or whatever. You can choose to do that. It's your money. You can choose to do whatever you want with it. It does not reflect in this budget at all. It's only your money and it's your choice. You can choose to hoard it and save up for a bigger expense. That's all your choice. There have been times in the past, and Donna can speak to this prior to me, that they have come to the board asking for money to supplement that book budget. I don't know that procedure or how much those amounts were, but there have been times, and the board has accepted to use some of their funds to supplement the book budget. But that's your money. You can choose to spend it as you wish.
I have one more comment, kind of an off-bar, but it's not. As far as the trustee money goes, we've been using the trustee money to pay for, you know, recording of the secretary's hours. To let Beth know, Beth, we are going to continue to use that service for a couple of months until you're comfortable that, you know, that you're between listening to the recordings and your notes and stuff, and watching, you'll be able to watch the minutes. That if after a couple of months you're comfortable, then we'll probably stop using that service. And that way we save the money into the trustees fund. But I just wanted to make sure that today I see you scrambling, getting the notes down. So I want to assure you that, you know, you're going to have a couple of months to work, okay? When you feel comfortable, and we all feel comfortable, that's when we'll stop that. But in the meantime, we do have to watch. I mean, the money in the trustees fund is not infinite, you know, and now we don't get those money for the late fees in it. So, you know, we really don't have, you know, other donations that might come in. if I die and maybe I save you money or, you know,
Oh my
give you
goodness.
money.
Hey, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. I would like to make Erin, I would like to make
Yes.
a note regarding the budget. I know that we're over in like water and things like that. Something that I have done in the past with, as a director at another library, was that when budget key season came around, and I'm not saying to do this, but it's something that I have experience with, is that we took a look at the building expensive stuff, like, you know, the water, the heat, the things that we kind of don't really have control over, and we added 2% to kind of hopefully get, you know, a little bit more
Offset.
money in those line items to account for those increases. It's never perfect, but we did a 2% increase on those, you know, the water, the heat, those necessary items to kind of protect for that. That's something that I did as like a regular thing with my board back then, because we don't have control over those numbers, and obviously we all know that heat and water and all those things have gone up in, you know, not recently, but have been continuing to go up. So it is something that the board can think about by saying, you know, giving line items like those, like, okay, we're gonna choose to increase this 2% or whatever the percentage is to hopefully offset some of that additional cost that's gonna be coming.
That's an excellent idea. Remember too, though, that if we put the percentage there, we're still, I'm very determined for this town that we keep a flat budget, that we don't keep going up every year. You know, right for now, because things are really tight. We might be losing services because of government grants and state grants and everything else, that we have a lot of things that, you know, and the town has a large budget that they have to gain, you know, get taxes from. So I really am determined that we try to keep our costs at a reasonable spending amount. You know, we have to pay for the additional insurance, you know, for employees, you know. Maybe we might have to do with a few less programs. I would hate to say that, but somewhere we're gonna have to cut, you know, and so I think we need to establish right now, we have a new board, we need to clearly start looking at all of our expenses and see where, you know, and be more diligent, not the staff. The staff has been diligent. We need to be more diligent, and I'm gonna say I'm the number one, you know, offender there, and, you know, and we need to be more diligent, and we need to do everything we can do to save the taxpayers' money. Yes, Laura?
So I was gonna bring this up under new business, but since we're talking about the budget, Patrick Elizam got assigned as our budget
Yep.
committee representative.
Yep.
I think it would be beneficial to loop him in on this, and since we do have a budget committee, if they reconvene and invite him to their meetings, that would probably be beneficial, because we did get a lot of documentation and numbers, and we really should be looking at starting the budget now, because last year we were scrambling to get it done.
That's an excellent idea. I'm gonna tell you, Laura, I love that idea, because I didn't think that. I should have. Patrick is a wonderful source, very knowledgeable. He can actually come in and do a little workshop, looking at our budget and making comments or making, you know, suggestions, and just working with us. You know, we have a resource in the town. Let's take advantage of it. And I'm sure he'd be more than willing to do that. So we'll get that. I'll put that on my to-do list, that I get him involved, okay? And thank you for suggesting. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, for
Yep.
tonight, should we move to possibly accept Jan's report, just keep things moving?
And I'd like to
And-
second that.
Okay.
Can we take a vote on that?
She didn't actually have a report, she was just reporting. There
Right,
was no quarterly report.
Oh, so we don't need to vote on it.
So we don't need to vote. I
We
mean,
trust her word.
she was just sharing the update,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Okay, great. So now we're up to the director's report finally, right?
Oh.
You probably forgot you did one.
No.
It's been so long.
Just a couple of things under announcements. We had our annual elevator test with our security company. So we passed. We'll be getting the certificate for that from the state soon. We also had a frozen pipe issue on March 3rd, and so E&E Systems, which is our HVAC, replaced all the mess regarding that. That was kind of messy. It was like, I think I mentioned, you could see the bulge of the frozen water, which was terrifying. Everybody knows, we're in a windy area, and we get a lot of high winds. So we had some shingles that blew off the roof, on March 14th. So thankfully DPW did go and replace those shingles for us. And also there was a tree near that area that he was able to trim. So we're always thankful for DPW and any town department that helps us out. It's wonderful. We do still have an ongoing leak in the front entry. Dave from DPW isn't aware of it. It seems to happen, well, we can't pinpoint the exact reason, but when it's rain and wind combined, that's when it seems to happen. It's not crazy leak, it's a drip. He is aware of it. We're exploring, and I'm talking to him about ways that we can try to figure out where that's coming from. It's a challenging location, so that's kind of why nothing's happened quite yet. We had, the one thing I wanted to mention was today, we had E&E Systems here. We realized that there was not, Nancy, this is not for you. There was no heat down in the staff area. It was very cold. It's been very cold for the past few days. I thought it was because of the change in temperature outside and the wind. However, we found out that the boiler was not working properly. So there had to be an emergency fix on that. So that will, when we talk about those maintenance things that come out of the budget, that's an unexpected emergency expenditure that we had to fix. He is going to quote me for another part that has to be replaced, but the work today had to be fixed. Otherwise, it would create other issues. So that bill will happen. But so things like that come up all the time. And so just going forward, one of the things I just wanted to point out with the programs is that we have a new seed library, which I'm sure you all saw walking in. We actually used an old card catalog that was here in Leach Library many, many moons ago to do that. So we recycled some of our furniture to make that happen. The feedback has been quite wonderful, actually. A lot of people are very happy to see it, very happy to participate. So we're excited to offer that. And then we did have our puzzle exchange recently, and I have my numbers for that, but we had, I think it was over 500 puzzles were donated, and puzzles and games, and we had about 50 patrons that signed up, and 41 came to exchange. At the end of the puzzle exchange, I always put the puzzles upstairs for free for people to take, and they love it. So those will probably all go. But it's a great program that involves volunteers from the Friends and the community, and it's great, and people love to be able to recycle their collections. So that was a great success, I think. I'm going to skip ahead to the meetings and trainings. Oh, just wanted to mention, I put a flyer at everybody's seat. There's a Jersey Mike's fundraiser taking place on April 9th for the Friends. So I encourage everybody to go between 5 and 8 p.m. They'll earn 10% of the sales. I believe the Friends will be there. So if you have any questions for the Friends or you want to sign up to be a member, you can certainly do that there. So that's exciting because we all love Jersey Mike's around here. So we'll be going. So just a few meetings and trainings. I attended the Friends meeting. We had a GMILKS board meeting that was virtual. Donna and I have been meeting, this is our second meeting with Tom and Doug, kind of to review some of the projects at the library and what kind of things we were hoping to get done. So we've been checking things off the list for that. We had a department head meeting with Donna, Jennifer, and Megan, and that's it. And as always, I put the list of items that were included in your board packet at the end. So, does anybody have any questions? Yes.
So the roof
Yes.
leak issue.
Yeah.
Did we not just replace?
So this is the front of the building where the foyer is, and nothing was replaced over there. We replaced the flat part of the roof.
Okay.
So this I truly believe is coming from another, it's not coming like directly down. I think it's trickling from somewhere else. That's where like the peak is, right in the front. So it's trying to figure out where that is coming from. But we are working with Dave to figure that out.
Okay. Yeah, the question was just if we replaced the roof and if it was still leaking, it seems.
No, that roof has been fine. Super duper.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Erin? Then we'll go down to Donna, Assistant Director's report.
Thank you. In tech services, our numbers are definitely coming back up. In March, we added 591 materials to the collection, which is more on par with our norm, so we're in a good spot again. We also, in the past month, have made some good progress with ordering nonfiction replacements for the titles that were water damaged last year. I will say that my concern right now, I mean, aside from the ones I've already shared with you, are that as we're ordering, we're noticing a majority of those are going to be in back order status just because of their age. And we did, insurance-wise, we did have to try to replace exact titles if we could. So we kind of had to try out the back order to see if we could get it that way. But I have a feeling we're going to end up with a long list of canceled eventually, and then we're going to have to find, what's going to be time-consuming is finding titles that like fit the same subject matter that we can order newer. So that's a later thing that's going to happen, but it will be forthcoming.
Do you want to speak to that money, just since we were talking about money?
Oh, sure, I can speak to that money. That you will not see that reflected in the town ledger because it is in an account just with the insurance money plus the money that was encumbered from last fiscal year for that purpose. So we will be working with finance to make sure all of the documentation goes over to them. They are still going to be cutting checks for our invoices, but it's just separate from, you don't have to worry about that coming from our regular budget.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. For reference, we have, I was looking at numbers today, and this is like the first time I've really looked at them since Matt recently left. So this March, we had over 3,200 reference questions that we fielded or answered. And so far, just this year, from January through March, I compared January through March of last year, we're seeing a 45% increase in reference questions, which is a huge number for having the same number of, actually less staff because we're down a person. Yeah, I just wanted to make you aware of that. We're seeing a lot of people coming in and asking for our help, which is great. We love to see that. We love to help people, obviously. The new website. So the town has a new website that went live yesterday. This included yeah. This included a new website or web page for the library, which I will say is a huge upgrade compared to what we had. And I do feel like it's moving in the right direction in terms of meeting our user expectations. I wanted you to know that, or really to announce that the URL for us has changed. So if anyone has a bookmark, I would suggest updating it. However, in the very near future, we're really hoping to actually get a domain attached to the landing page. So we should be able to send people to a like .org address and it will go to us, which I am really excited about. It's not quite ready yet, but we've been told that it's in the works. So
and that was actually a patron request.
Yes,
for a long time ago.
So it's coming, and obviously I'll give you another update when we're ready for that, and we'll make an announcement. An update on our department head meeting last week. We did move forward with planning 2 sessions of staff meetings. We're going to be meeting with staff on April 10th. This did impact us having to cancel the tech help for that day because we can't staff a second person at the reference desk for that and also do staff meetings at the same time. So it's just that one day that it will impact tech help. And we are planning to kind of debrief the staff on the GMILKS transition, give them an opportunity. They really haven't had the opportunity to tell us, what they really like, what's still a challenge, just to go over that and figure out what still needs to be worked on the staff side of things, and also to discuss plans for summer readings that we're all on the same page. So that's the plan there. We reviewed a potential timeline for our upcoming hiring processes. That includes the current vacancy and our intent for possible timeline for the part-time children's librarian. That will be in the next fiscal year. We discussed also the potential for revamping our volunteer program to add some more opportunities. So right now, especially for adults, we're really limited to book sale, and not everyone really has interest in being here to keep the book sale open. We've had an opportunity every now and again, like something like the puzzle exchange, but we do have a lot of interest in people wanting to help out, and we really appreciate that. And We also know that in terms of a budget discussion, there has been interest in wanting to see us have some more volunteers helping us out instead of continually asking for more staff. So we do recognize that ask and are looking for ways to accommodate that. So that was a start of a discussion there. And then for trainings, I spent a lot of time in the past month training on the new website platform. Feeling pretty good about it. Still have some some areas I need to practice some more. But I also hope eventually to involve a second staff member so that if I'm not here or not available, someone else can still update it, make changes. So, but making progress there. So that's it for me.
Beth?
I have a question. Do the high school programs, the graduation requirements include community service hours anymore, or is that gone?
As far as I know, they do.
Because when I
That's
was
an
a
excellent
student,
question, because
we
I know
had
where
to-
my granddaughter goes to school.
Yeah.
When you're on the National Honor Society, part of the obligation besides keeping up the grades is doing public service.
I feel like I had to do 40 hours to
Yeah.
graduate, so I'm just wondering if that's a potential pool for, two kids
I don't
to
think
partner
we've
up.
had a lot of people come to us
Okay.
with the need for that requirement, but but doesn't
Okay,
mean it doesn't
yeah.
exist, so.
Again, actually, I'm sorry.
No, Madam Chair, I was also going to make the point, there's also the Pay It Forward
Mhm.
organization.
Yeah,
They're
after
always
school.
looking for volunteer opportunities.
Great, that's an idea too. And again, Beth, you and I are on the same homepage because I was thinking about volunteers. We could create a page system like they do in the Congress. They have pages, and they have young people who would be interested, and maybe they want to do, get involved in politics in their life as they get older, and so they go in as pages, and it's volunteer work, and they work. And I'm wondering if we approach, like we could approach as a trustees, we could approach the school and see if they require for certain groups that the public service time, and if they do, we can add their name, our name to their list, because they, a lot of times kids are out there scrambling, trying to find out, I gotta get public service, what am I gonna do? And let me tell you, some of the things they have to do, I think they'd much rather be working in the library as a page, and so you create a system, a page system, and you get them after school volunteering for a couple of hours and stuff, and it's twofold. It helps you, but it also gives you work to work with them. But the second thing is, it's developing the future of our students. It's giving them ideas for careers and stuff. So we're giving back to the school. We're giving back to the community. They're not just giving to us. It's a twofold. Okay, and so I think that's something that, as the trustee board, I said I would, be glad to work with you guys and to promote this throughout the community to see what we can do. Okay? Comments on that? Okay, great.
So I just wanted to add that
Yeah.
the head of circulation teen services report is also included, as well as the head of children's. So you're welcome to take a look at those. I won't really speak to them aside from the head of circulation under news and updates. We did relocate some shelving in our library to accommodate kind of creating more of a space for the young adult collection and the teens. So you're welcome to, I encourage you to walk around the library and see that. I think it worked really well. We're really happy with the way it turned out. And they moved it in less than 20 minutes, which is amazing. And it was just Ricky, so that's another amazing thing. I don't know what he's taking, but I want some of it. But yeah, so we're doing, and also when it comes to circulation, our numbers are growing, and that part of it is because of the joining the consortium. So, but you're welcome to take a look at those. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them as best as I can.
Laura?
Just a quick question. I know we have a contractor who's kind of working on that space upstairs, the teen space.
So we don't have a contractor. It's an interior designer, and I believe Megan's working with her to get some ideas, and I think it's ideas related to like what can work in that space and what that cost looks like. But I don't know where she is out with that now. But
Okay. If we could get an update on that at some point, that would be great.
I can certainly suggest that to Megan. Sure, she could have it.
Volunteer time, right?
Yes, she has been
Yes.
volunteering her time with us.
Okay, great.
Is it okay if that comes next month?
Oh, yeah.
With
I'm
her
not talking
report?
about
Okay.
now. I'm not talking about now.
Okay, cool.
Go run and get her.
Okay, if we're all set, we're gonna move on to old business.
Okay.
And Erin, you're gonna address the budget?
Yep, so the reason I just put the budget FY26 on there was just to give a quick, or maybe last update in this case. The town election did take place. The budget went through, which we're very thankful and happy about. We also had the trustee vote, which, as we know, Beth was elected. And then we also were able to get our warrant article for the part-time children's librarian. I just want to speak, and I'm sure I'm speaking for my staff, and we're very thankful for the community for the support on that. It's definitely a need, and we're excited to put that forward. I know my head of children's, Jennifer, is excited to put that into place and to use that person as much as we can to create more experiences in the children's room and to offer her more help as well. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. I did include the election results regarding the trustees, only because I think you wanted to bring up something earlier,
Yes.
but these are all available through the town clerk if anybody had any questions. So that's just a quick update on the budget. And that's all I had for that, unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, now the marathon. We're up to the bylaws, the trustees' bylaws. So we're going to go through those, update anything appropriately, and hopefully accept them today, right?
Well,
Christine's not here now, though.
I'm sorry, what?
Christine's
Christine's
now.
the chair of this
She went home.
committee and she went home.
Oh,
and I think
Oh,
we weren't gonna vote on them today anyway, because we knew we were gonna waiting for the new board, but we didn't wanna throw that on the people right away.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of fine tuning discussion, but if without Christine here, if we wanna wait for Christine.
I would think out of, respect for Christine, because she's been so involved,
Okay.
maybe we could
okay,
put
then
this
we're
on
gonna
to
defer
our-
this into next month. Does
Okay.
everyone agree on this? John?
I just wanted to note that I know I brought a long list of things that I suggested to see for changes. And I know this is still like the original draft, I would say. I don't think anything has changed yet further. So if there is going to be another like subcommittee meeting or anything, that I'd be happy to try to go to it and bring that list again, or to instead email that list to the whole board, or however you want me to handle it.
I would like to see you email the list to the board.
Okay, great.
Have us all review it, then have an offline discussion, just, do you see that we need to make more changes to them or not? And then if the majority said, yeah, I think we need to have another meeting, then we'll call another meeting. How does that sound? But I do wanna make sure that we all get a copy of your changes.
Okay.
Okay?
great.
Sound good to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're moving along. Okay, the next thing is we're up to the purchasing policy.
So there's two versions in there. There was the one that Donna did originally, and then there was a second one, which is version 2, which incorporates Maura's edition from the Brookline Public Library. So both of those are in your packet to review. They were also sent with the agenda, so it's possible that you could vote on it. It could be possible that if you guys agree with either one of them, or you could vote on it tonight, but that's up to the board.
Did people have time to look at these? No. Okay, then, yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to give, I guess,
Oh,
a little
yeah.
context
Yeah.
to adapting the Brookline one. So there is still some things I added from the town's policy, just because I felt like it was fitting for us. But one of the things that I moved from the town policy that was different for Brookline was the amount for purchase that the board would have to approve. So the Brookline policy said any purchase over $500, with the exception of regular material orders, would have to be approved by the board. The town policy says that is $2,500. So I kept the $2,500, but certainly you can decide to reduce it again. My ask is that you consider the difference in size of the library and the town. So I personally feel that 500 is low, and it would be putting honestly a lot of time on both the staff and you guys, because there's a lot that has to be purchased and it would delay a lot of ordering. So in my opinion, the minimum that you could look at is like 1,000 if you wanted it lower than the towns. But obviously it's your decision.
Okay, Maura, go ahead.
I think there's a difference in the budget, as you pointed out, with the town being 50 million and ours being 1.5 million. And I think we have to take that into account. And when we did a review of other libraries, they range from $200 to $500. And I think that because the board overall is responsible for all the funding of the library and approving the purchases at the end of the day, like the buck stops with us, I do think that we need to be aware of and know what those purchases are, even if you do them, to give us copies of stuff so that we can review it in our packets at our monthly meetings, just so we know what's going on with the funds.
You know,
That's fine. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I respond?
our trustees, code and everything, when you start looking at them, we are responsible for looking at each charge and costs. So, so I think we need to be more diligent in that. But what I would suggest, since everyone hasn't seen this, that we review these, we come back, you said, basically that's what you have for changes you've already just stated, right? For these? You would
Not
suggest-
changes, just giving you context of what I did.
Guidelines of where you thought that the 500 wasn't sufficient.
Right. So
Okay.
I just wanted to respond to Maura that the letting the board know of expenses is one thing, but this policy says that it needs to be approved before we order. So that's just where I have no problem with like sharing what's being spent. It's the approval process that's going to slow everything down. And that's not to say that we're not already doing that. We are. Like, we're bringing you those expenses that are coming up that aren't already accounted for or planned on, what have you. Like, you're approving those already. It's just the $500 amount, I think, would only add more to that work, whereas right now we're probably bringing, I don't know, I think it's about 1,000, but I don't know if you feel differently.
No, I agree. I think it would be challenging to move forward and get things done if we're bringing anything.
So
with
your
the 500.
suggestion is 1,000?
Yeah.
Is that, okay, well, the board will, I'm sorry, Jan, go ahead.
Well, the question I have is, so can you give me an example of something where you needed to spend $500 or more that you couldn't have come to a board meeting to ask about that before spending it?
I guess technology would be a challenge.
Yeah,
If the staff is without something that they need and we need to wait another month for the board to meet to approve it, that's tough. It can also limit us missing out on sales. So we could have gotten something cheaper, but if we have to wait, we might have lost our opportunity. The first thing that comes to mind to me is technology and equipment.
I have a creative solution for that, okay? I don't know if legally we can do it, and we'll look at it, but my creative solution is that if you see something and it's something that you need to do kind of immediately, that you either contact the chair or the treasurer, discuss it, and we could give you the waiver to go ahead and order it.
Well, then
without waiting for
that
the
should be
next
really
board
in the
meeting.
policy that's allowed.
I'm saying
So,
that would have
yeah.
to be a change to the policy.
Yeah, so, cause that would be great, because if we can, and then put it in the policy,
Yeah,
that would be very helpful.
That's what I'm looking at, to put this in the purchasing policy,
We can just
okay?
separate it.
Do you think that would work for
No,
emergency?
not
You don't
legal.
wanna do that for
It's
emergency?
not legal,
Why is that not legal?
because it has to be the whole board, it can't just be one person.
Right.
Okay.
If the board policy is X, yeah.
Well, no, we're changing the board yeah, that's why we would be
But what I'm
changing
saying, if
the board
whatever the
purchasing
policy,
policy.
but if the purchasing
Yeah.
policy says X, whatever the X is,
Yeah,
then it would be the board would have to make the change, unless we
the
gave.
board has to make the change on the policy.
Right, but unless the board, the policy gave the, chair and or the, treasurer, the right to change that policy, we couldn't do that.
And that's what we were
possible.
saying, we couldn't do that, we would need to change the purchasing policy and have the vote, and have the committee vote on that. Again, Maura?
Yeah, I still don't think that's legal, and I don't think that's a good thing to go down. I think we can figure out something else.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
we can
let's,
have an emergency meeting too.
Yeah.
let's
Always do
work
that.
at this,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
Let's come up with some suggestions and solutions and submit them. How does that sound?
I think that's good.
Yeah, for next
You know, and what I'd like to have you do is to send me solutions a couple, 2 weeks before our next meeting, so that I can share them with the whole board, and the board will see all the suggestions for solutions, so when we come into the meeting, we have
Already
options we
covered.
can discuss. Nancy?
So may I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So do you have an amount that, you spend without approval? And if the answer to that is yes, what is it?
I don't think we have an amount. I
So
mean,
you
it's
could,
more
like,
so.
order- okay.
There's, for example, the work that's being done, like if there's work that needs to be done on the boiler, I'm getting a quote, that I'll bring to the
Right.
board.
Right.
If there's anything like unusual or certainly high in cost, I would bring that to the board. There have been things that I have not bring that are smaller cost, $200 whatever dollars. It's just hard to speak. I'm trying to speak. But there have been smaller things that I feel like we can handle on our own that are not like
Of course.
life changing. Anything related to like replacement of maintenance or anything like that, I will bring to the board.
Obviously.
Yeah, because those are usually large,
Okay.
and so.
But I think basically we still have to come up with a dollar sign.
Yeah.
I mean, value, cause right now it's a nebulous, amount. And we need to come up with a dollar amount that they can proceed, or that they that
Right.
they follow whatever purchasing procedure we've.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to.
Well, just keep in mind that we are responsible for every dime as a board.
Absolutely, we
Madam
are,
Chair,
yeah.
absolutely, but I have no desire to micromanage this.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
we're busy enough with what we've
No,
got
and I don't
going
think we
on,
need
and,
to.
and,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we have these people in place that we trust, but I agree that we should probably have some policies for review and oversight.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm happy to entertain the dollar amount that you guys say.
Right.
There will be definitely times where we would probably have to have emergency meetings. I would just, for the board, avoid having them so frequently
Yeah.
because it really
If
is
you
not.
put the price too low.
Right,
it-
that's
right, I know
that's
what
where my
we
concern is,
understand that
because it's
perfectly.
inconvenient for the
Yeah.
board to try to, and of course, getting us all together, or you guys all
Or a
together to
quorum.
vote
Yeah.
is a challenge as well. So that's the only concern I would have to be able
Yeah.
to move forward.
Okay, but I do agree that we need to absolutely we need to have an amount that we,
Yeah.
we need to tighten up our policies.
Yep.
So let's go home and work on this.
So,
Within 2 weeks, let me know any, great, brilliant ideas you have, and we'll share them, I'll share them with everyone, and then we'll come back next month and do this, okay, Laura? Everyone happy?
Yep.
All right, good,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yes?
No, I was just gonna say the next item, but I'm speaking for the chair. Sorry.
Oh, the past trustee gifts, wanna.
So the only, because you guys got reelected, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you won't be getting a gift, because you got reelected.
Fine.
What
But
happened
the
to our
gift that,
$1 million
we get a
check?
gift by having you still on the board.
Fine.
But in the past, trustees who have not been reelected or have stepped down for whatever reason have received a gift. Traditionally, that was a clock that had an engravement on it. I know the board has spoken to doing something different. The only person that and certainly I'm just speaking, but Kim Bears did step down as a trustee, so the board could entertain a gift to her. But that's the only person right now, unless the trustees want to change the whole process, then that's totally up to you guys.
I think we should consider, that
And keep in mind the cost
maybe for now,
the
just
cost.
buy a clock for her to get it done, because she's been gone for a
Go
while.
buy her a little Mickey Mouse.
So the cost of this would
Yeah.
come out of the trustee account,
Yes, and
just
how
to be
much
clear.
is a clock right now, do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
I think we talked
Oh,
about
no.
that.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, I don't remember
More-
what the cost
more.
is.
So what if we make a motion to get Kim Bears a gift certificate and a nice card, maybe a gift certificate for $75.
Sure.
Any comments or counter offers or anything on that?
So I would prefer to get her a gift. I mean, whether it's the clock or something else that's indicative of the library.
Something
She was-
permanent.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. That's
Yes.
just
We
my-
donate something in her name here in the library, so it's like kind of like
Oh, that'd be nice.
in honor of
That would be
her,
nice.
on her service.
Well, we could list that on the things that we're sending to what's-her-face in the next 2 weeks.
okay. Well, you know what? She's already been gone for a while, so I think we can wait another month. Let's put our heads together, let's think about that. I kinda like that idea of, putting something in the library with her name in it.
Okay.
I think because people have so much stuff, but
Yeah.
this is a memoriam to her to have in the library. So let's put our, think about it, and let's bring it up to vote for next month. Is that everyone okay with that?
Is there
Your
anything
choice.
currently that people donate in people's names here in the library?
We've had
Curiosity.
people donate, a lot of times they donate money to, let's say, here's $100, I'd like you to spend some money purchasing items for the children's room. That kind of thing. The other thing that you could do is make a donation in her name to a literary-based charity. I'm not saying ALA, but there are a lot of charities out there related to reading and literature. That's a possibility as well.
Maura?
So there are some people who do get book plates made that say that this book was donated for such and such person.
Yeah,
We
that's
could do the
lovely.
book plates, and then we could ask her, if she has some suggested books or something like that.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So that is challenging. We do create the book plates for the patrons that do donate. We try. You get into the crossing the line of the collection development policy when they tell us what books they want to add to the collection. So we just have to be aware of that. But
Along that line, so if they were, let's say they wanted to get a children's book, they would come to you to ask for the children's book, or they would come to you, find out how much you needed for that children's book, or what? How would that work?
are you talking about a patron donating? So if a patron wanted to donate a children's book in the name of something, one, we'd have to check we may already own it,
Uh-huh.
or it may, it could be out of print, a number of things.
Right.
Donna
add
can
to
speak
that?
to
Sorry.
because she does the book
I
plates.
usually handle these.
Yeah.
So usually someone donates with an area and possibly a subject matter, but we usually don't take a specific title. So it leaves it up to the librarian to decide, okay, they really wanted, we've had someone donate and ask for, cooking or cookbooks, or someone said they really loved Under the Sea, so we figured out where to, where it would best fit for the library to put that donation. So it kind of works in that sense instead of a specific title.
Okay, Helen?
I was just gonna say something, at my school, we have something similar to the birthday book club, so that what the librarian's already purchased, then the child or the parent looks at what's been purchased and they then choose that book to be the donation.
Oh.
So we could,
That's a good
something
idea.
you're gonna be buying, we could just honor Kim with that.
Okay, Beth?
All
I
good
was
ideas.
just gonna make a motion that I could reach out to Kim and just say, do you want us to donate it to a Reading Rainbow or Dolly Parton's book foundations or something like that, or do you want to have us donate money under a collection of books that you prefer? Can I just ask her so that we don't have to do 20 minutes next month on this?
I'm gonna tell you, I don't like giving money to other organization, under the name, I mean, let's keep it here. Let's keep, if we're gonna honor her, let's have it something that is here and that's used here and people see it here.
Should I just ask her, hey, we want to donate money in your name? What collections, do you want it to be cooking? Do you want it to be...
Library
Yeah, I mean,
development.
she
What-
used to be a children's librarian,
Yeah,
so
like-
maybe it's there. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think something for children's library, in our children's, thing would be great. Could be I don't know,
But I think it
a
makes
special
sense.
toy that kids love or
I
something.
think it makes sense that,
What?
that Beth might want to ask that
Yeah,
question.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I would definitely, please talk to her, but this is, okay, I think we've had good discussion, we all can percolate it, okay? And then we'll go on to our next thing, and I do have two things I'm putting under old business. The first thing is, the peer review, the one, Representative Perez had brought out at a meeting early in the fall where the state library puts out a report based on a set of answers that all the libraries in the state answer, the directors answer, or the assistant directors, and then they compare and use it as a kind of a performance, comparison. I have said that I would go to the state library, get the information, which I did. I was working with Mindy Atwood, who's the acting chair for the state library, and we've discussed this whole report, and I've gotten the whole report. Last week I got it from the state, met with them, and I'm going to be, hopefully by next month's meeting, I'll be able to give you, if not a complete in-depth results of my peer review, of that I'll have most of it covered, and I will have to present that. So I do appreciate you guys being patient on that,
Waiting to see if you got reelected.
No, that's right. Maybe I wouldn't have to do it, right? Thank you for sponsoring me and getting me reelected, so I did it. So I just wanted to let you know, we're working on it. It's something that's active. I have gone through the public comments for the last year, looking at things that we need to get back to you guys about. So that's one of the things that I'm getting back to you. We're working on it actively. The second thing that I'm getting back to you is I keep hearing people calling, talking about, the 91A training, and that all the trustees should get it. I've set up a training. It's actually the budget committee set up a training, and I reached out to the town council, and they agreed it should be shared by all of the groups. So we have been invited to go to that training. So anyone who's available will be going to the 91-1A training, and that will be offered within, I think it's within a month. We're going to be there. Actually, no, within 2 weeks we'll be there. So yes, we've heard it. We're responding to you. And we have scheduled it for whoever is available. Okay. The third thing I guess I'm going to talk about is, because it's old business, because it's come up several times in public comment and stuff, and that is the fact that we have a right by law, by statute, to have alternates, okay? And we are probably one of the only town committees that don't have an alternate, okay? Most of them have alternates and have a program, okay? So what I want to do is I want to enact the Trustees Bylaws Section 2.2, which is, it's talking about, I believe that's the right one, that's talking about alternates. It gives us the right to have up to 3 alternates, and also that these alternates would have 1-year terms, and they could rerun again, okay, the following year, and that they have a seat at the table. They will not be voting unless they take the place of someone who's missing. And what we would do is, my opinion is, I think that based on, on how this board has been going for the last several years, we've always needed, we've had a need of 1 alternate, probably never 2, certainly not 3. I think 2 would be sufficient. And the reason I picked 2, the reason I thought 2 would be a good reason, is because I looked at our votes, okay, for what the town voted on. And in the town vote, there are 2 individuals who ran for trustee that lost the 3rd position by less than 10 votes, 10 or less votes, okay? So they're basically, those, to me, make sense that if we have to submit first we have to vote on if we want to have the alternates and the number of alternates. We also have to vote on who they will be. We submit them to the town council, and the town council accepts our proposal. Okay, so that's what we have to do. So I would like today to vote on if we initiate or enact 2.2 and, you know, and get, and choose 2 or 3 alternates, and then the next thing we vote on is who. And the reason I'm trying to make this as non-biased as possible, and to me, when I see the votes that came in from the election, to me, that seems like the natural position to take, there were 3 people who made it, to take the 4th and 5th positions.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yes,
I think we've gone into discussion mode versus coming up to the into discussion of the points of
Okay.
the issue versus getting a
Okay.
proposal, and then having
Okay.
discussions based on that.
would you like to make a proposal at this time?
So I'd like to make, go ahead. That's all.
I think that certainly this is worthy of discussion, but I don't know that we can vote on this because it's not on the agenda.
It is.
Mhm.
It is, it's on the agenda under alternates, on the business.
Under where? Oh,
Other
sorry.
business.
Yeah, other
Yep, it's
business.
on the
Yeah,
agenda.
We're just going out of order.
Sorry.
So, you know, I would like to make, I would like to make a request that, before we take up the alternates, that we do the discussion about the health insurance, because we need to get that done tonight. And then, we need to see how we are, where we are for the alternates.
Okay.
If that's, all right with
That's
the
fine
chair
with me, yep.
and the other board members.
Yeah, I was just using,
I understand.
old business, you know, which was old business, but that's okay. Yeah, we can go, okay, then we're gonna defer the discussion on alternates till later on this
Yes.
evening, hopefully
Okay.
this
That'd be
evening.
great.
Yeah, and then we're gonna move on then to,
We can do it next week, because the next one, because I'll need an alternate.
okay, are we gonna work on the personnel policy and on the, insurance?
Or do you wanna go in order under new business? Up to you guys. If you wanna skip ahead to that, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah, because the alternates were actually, yeah, so was from old business, but yeah, we could go to, you wanna go to new business and start down that list? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Mhm.
Okay, new business, acceptance of unanticipated.
So we have 3 items of unanticipated funds. One is actually I'm gonna skip that one. One, we got 3 $25 gift cards from Moose Hill Orchards, which was Max Apples ice cream gift certificates and that goes to adult summer reading. So we're thankful for their donation. And then we also received $10 from Marina Nunley. Is that Mariana Nunley. So we're thankful for that. One donation that we did get was $20 from actually, her name is, and I hope I'm not destroying this, Arya Das. Her mother is, and there's no way I can say this, but Miranmoyi Das is her mother, and I apologize for mispronouncing that. She gave a really adorable card, and I'd like to pass, I'm not gonna read this out loud because she really shared a vulnerable moment in here, but I would like the board to see it. And it just shares, the daughter gave a $20 donation, and I'm gonna pass this note around for the board to read if they choose, and just to share, so.
Cute drawing.
Yeah, and she colored the envelope and everything, it was cute. She wrote, in this card, she wrote her name, just says thank you with a heart, it's
Cute.
adorable. So those are the 3 donations that we received, so we just need a vote to accept those donations.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the unanticipated funds under RSA 202-A:4-C. Can I do them all together? And RSA 202-A:4-D.
Second.
Okay,
All
we'll
in
vote
favor?
on that,
Okay.
okay.
You want to do a roll call?
Beth, would you like?
Paparocco, aye.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Helen Palmieri, aye.
Maura Ryan, aye.
Jan McLaughlin, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye.
Thank you. Do you want me to just go on to the next thing?
Yes, please,
Okay.
yeah.
So Old Home Day 2025 is coming up. August 16th is the Saturday, I guess you could say, of Old Home Days. We usually have a booth down in the Common, and then we also march in the parade. So we're asking the board, in past years, I want to say almost all all the years. I think
Long time.
a long time. Megan can speak to that because she's been here a long time. We've closed the library so that the staff can participate in the march and the parade and also have a booth. So we're asking
8/16.
August 16th. Yes, I confirmed that today.
It's also appropriate because that's a place that people can park. So it gives us, if the library's closed, it gives people
Yeah,
the opportunity to do some
I have to say in
parking.
the past year since I've been doing it, in the past 3 years going on to 4, it's been a great opportunity for outreach and connecting with our patrons and seeing our patrons and, kind of spending the day with them, I guess you could say. So for us as a staff, it's been a really great experience and we've enjoyed it. So, but I'm just asking for the board
Okay.
to approve a closing for that day.
Motion?
No, not a motion,
No,
just
right.
discussion.
Yeah.
As I recall, last year we had a citizen complain about that, and they also were counting people who are coming up to the library. So I think that if we're going to do that, we have to have a plan, because that person did come forward and had been counting individuals coming to the library door, looking to get in. So I think we have to address that.
Donna?
I just want to add, I can't say this for certain because every time Old Home Days come up since I've been here, we've been closed, but I do strongly believe that the reason why they'd be coming up is to use the restroom. And I think we just get a flood of people wanting to use the restroom all day, personally. The other consideration is that our hours at that time will be 9 to 1 on Saturday. And if staff are leaving at that time, there could be a lot of traffic or possibly not be able to get
People
out.
wouldn't be able to get in either because
Right,
the parade.
Yeah.
The parade is happening.
So just something to consider too.
Helen?
Helen Palmieri. I think it's nice to have us, it's our one kind of community-based thing to have the library be part of for the day.
Yeah.
And if we give plenty of notice, then it shouldn't be a problem.
I think we need to maybe put a notice in the newspaper and then put signs up at the library. I would put them up a month ahead so that people, yes.
We have been, in the past years, since I've been here, but I'm sure it's happened before, we've been very careful about making sure we get the word out. We put it on Facebook, we
Yep.
put it in the newsletter, we put it in the paper.
Great.
We do communicate that. We do put signs up prior to Old Home Day
Yep.
to let people know. And we do share that with the community as widespread as we can do it, so.
Okay. Well, I think we need to take a vote on it because not everyone's going to agree that it should be shut or that it should not be. So does someone want to make a motion, Nancy?
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we remain closed on Old Home Day 2025.
Second.
Okay, Beth, would you like to start with it?
Yes, Beth Burko.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Helen Palmieri, aye.
Maura Ryan, no.
Jan McLaughlin, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye. So the guys have it.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to go on to the next thing?
Summer reading.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think Donna's going to speak to the summer reading. Go ahead and discussion.
So this discussion is mainly us asking how you'd like us to proceed in terms of funding for the summer. Looking at the budget, we are looking at the budget and what we're hoping to plan for the summer. We are noticing that the management services line would likely be overspent about $5,000 at the end of the fiscal year with all things accounted for. If we proceeded without any other changes. So that is an option to overspend the management services line. I will note, and I mean you can see too that we've spent very conservatively with office supplies and general supplies. So those lines are very underspent and I expect they will remain underspent. So I think they would make up for overspending in this line, but I also know that you're concerned about other lines that have been overspent. The other thing that we mentioned the last meeting is that we expect there will be some money left in salaries because of the vacancy and what you've decided to do to fill that vacancy. So there'll be some money left in salaries as well. Another idea we're suggesting, if you want to entertain it, is we could do similar to last year where we bring you a specific proposal for summer reading for funding that you could consider contributing with trustee account money. Last year we brought you a proposal of $4,100, so it's very consistent with what we'd be asking this year. And I would say what we're planning is very consistent with what we planned last year. So I think the expectation is there from the patrons that we, still offer those things. It was very well attended last year, at all ages, throughout the summer. Another option is, and really you could choose to do all three of these if you wanted to, is that we publicly seek sponsorships. And in my mind, that would be us posting, putting in the newsletter that we're seeking businesses, individuals, groups to either choose a specific program they want to sponsor or just being a general summer reading sponsor. Of course, those funds are not guaranteed. So in my opinion, what might be best is some of all, like if you were okay with us seeking those sponsorships and also us bringing to you like half the proposal, like $2,000, so that you're still covered in terms of the overspending of the line. I feel like that would be a good in-between strategy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So.
I think
I have a question.
Jan.
So, you said usually if you expect that, due to summer reading, that management services would be overspent by about $5,000. Is that because the program comes out of management services?
Programming comes out of management services.
All programming comes out of there?
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing that will be expended soon, I don't think it's reflected in today's, is our renewal of a resource that's called LibraryWare. It's sort of like a database, but it's really like a design tool. We also use it to send out our newsletters, so it manages our subscribers for us, and it's great because it's library specific and it pre-builds a lot of content for us. So we are really just taking that content and making it fit for our needs, but it's a huge time saver. And we consider that a programming tool since we use it for promoting programs. So it also comes out of the management services line. So that's why I know right now I think there's about $5,000 left in there. So we expect between that subscription and summer reading that we'd overspend by about $5,000.
So you're saying it's going to be about $10,000 that you're going to spend,
Right.
Yeah.
And
and you have the
in
5
addition.
to offset it.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, Nancy.
So generally speaking, I don't support overspending a line item, so I truly, and I'm not saying that, we're not gonna have the funds to offset that, but like last year, I'd like to see a proposal,
Sure.
and seeking some sponsorships would be a good idea, especially if you might have some already in your hip pocket that you might wanna contact, and then maybe between the two, the expense won't be such a big hit. So, that's just my feeling.
Okay, that's a great idea. I think that, we have to approach this from a couple of avenues to try to get the money. Sponsorship is a great idea. The thing is that you can't ask for sponsorship until you've established this is what we're gonna have, and then you look for a sponsor. So once you have the list, you've made the commitment, okay? So the suggestion that, we may have salary money left by the end of the year, I wouldn't like to touch that because I think that next year's budget that we're gonna be looking for salary money will be higher because of insurance and everything else. So I think that, anything we have left out of salary, it would be nice to keep it, with the budget. We don't even know what the hit for the next few months, 6 months out for the insurance. And that amount might be offset by that amount of salary we're saving.
But you don't keep that money, like that
No.
money's going away at the
I'm saying in the
July
next 6
1st.
months, the increase due to the contractual pricing on the insurance goes up. We would
Right.
use that to offset the next 6 months.
You won't be able to though, because that
That's-
salary money
Because
will be
it's
gone
25.
July
It's
as of
July
July 1st.
1.
Yeah,
And the
when the
change in the insurance
Yeah.
is happening
Gotcha.
July 1st.
gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it won't be there
Sadly.
Yeah,
to offset.
so if we know we're gonna lose money,
Mhm.
I guess we should have appropriated for something, okay? That makes sense. Amora.
Are you done?
Yeah, no, good.
I support doing a proposal. I would actually really like to see it, and I'd also like to know if you approach the Friends group also, because I know that they do pay for a portion of the children sometimes.
We will be bringing some suggestions of programs that they can sponsor to them.
Okay.
I do know that their funding right now is pretty low, but I'm sure they'll support something. I just don't know what that amount would be. But
Yeah.
we are meeting in May, and I plan to bring some suggestions to them.
Isn't there an
I
evening
thought you were
meeting
meeting
this
next
month?
month. Next
I'm
week.
sorry, you're right, April, I'm sorry. Yes, we have a meeting next week, so I can bring that to them then.
Okay.
I forgot what.
And even if we get something and then we get a proposal, then we can, I think we have a better.
Yeah, we do have a list of programs that are already in place, planned for the summer, so we will have that list, and that'll be with that proposal.
And I'm assuming it's gonna be similar to what you did last year as well, so.
Yep, yep,
Unless you're adding another celebration.
no
No
celebration.
So, I'm sorry, may I just ask, I guess I don't know what amount to bring you, so I'm asking, like, do you want us to bring you the full amount of the 5,000? Do you want us to bring you half to consider, thinking that we're gonna seek sponsorships?
Whatever amount keeps us in the black.
Okay,
We don't wanna be in the red.
okay,
Okay.
so in that case, I would say after the friends choose,
Mhm.
we
So
would
that's
bring
my
you,
feeling.
we would bring you the remainder, and,
Yes.
I mean, I don't think that stops you from seeking sponsorships, because what would happen is we get a sponsor and you get reimbursed because it goes
Yeah.
back in the
Yeah.
trustees account.
It goes back to
So-
the trustees fund.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But again, we have to be conservative about the trustees fund only because we don't have any, money coming in, unless we can get some people killed or something, which we won't do. That was not a nice thing to say, I am sorry. I apologize in public. and
I
apologize
do
to
not
the
recommend,
whole
I
town.
do not recommend,
Maybe I'm not a good choice.
I do not recommend.
Madam Chair, would you like a motion on that?
That was a
Would
zing.
you like a motion on that?
Can I have a motion to strike that from the minutes?
Oh.
Okay.
That's that.
You're a naughty girl. Sorry, we're voting on,
To come up with a proposal.
yes, okay, just wanna make sure what I'm voting on.
I know there was a lot of discussion.
Yeah. I, Beth Marco.
We haven't made a motion.
But I
No,
was asking,
yeah.
would you like me to make a motion?
Yes,
Yeah,
would
sorry,
you
I'm
please?
like,
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we entertain a proposal from the library management for our summer reading program for cost.
Next minute.
Next one.
Second.
Second, more, okay.
I, Beth Marco.
I, Nancy Hendricks.
I, Helen Palmieri.
I'm Maura Ryan.
I, Jan McLaughlin.
I, Liz Thomas.
Great, thank you. Okay. We've made it to the. Sure.
Oh, personnel policy.
So in the, I gave you a copy of the personnel policy, and it is highlighted, the area where you guys made those changes. I can tell you what page, if that's,
13.
oh, thank you, 13. There was, so that, the highlighted is the changes that I believe Helen sent me, that I just put into the policy, as is. One thing to note is that, Donna and I noticed, and I forgive I'm sorry, I should have noticed this too, is that we need a date on it. So, as of July, or whatever the wording, I think it was in the last one, of every year. And then there was also, you had suggested.
Yeah, I noticed in the third paragraph, the second to
Oh,
last
yes, that's
sentence,
right.
as it's written right now, it's saying that if someone chooses a third plan that's more expensive than Access Blue, that is when they would pay the difference in the contribution. So I believe you actually want Access Blue to be changed to Luminos, if I'm understanding correctly. You want the employee to be responsible for the difference between Luminos and Access Blue.
And that's the second line from the bottom of that paragraph,
Of the third
correct?
page.
Yeah.
And that changes to luminous.
Luminos, yeah.
Yeah.
So we just need to also put in a date. I would also like to make sure the board does, remember the public comment that Donna had made and take that into consideration, please.
And if you look at, in the book, if you look at, in the book, notebook that was given to us tonight, on page 13 of the personnel policy that's in there, you will see the wording that,
The original,
the
yep.
previous wording, so you can see the difference of the two.
Thank you, Jan.
Liz Moore has a question.
Yes, Maura, sorry.
I agree that this third paragraph is worded oddly, but I know that Jan had said in the past that, we should sort of do some more general stuff, so instead of saying the health trust, we might wanna say the insurance plan. And we do have to clean up that last sentence, because it, as written, it doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry, which paragraph are you talking about?
Third paragraph.
Third one, okay, thank you.
So do you have a suggested, wording for it?
So I would say, in the event that an employee opts for a more comprehensive coverage than the Luminos plan offered through the insurance carrier, such employee shall be responsible for payment of the difference between contributions provided by the library for the Luminos plan, as Donna said, and the applicable premium rate for the more comprehensive coverage. The choices are based on those negotiated by the town.
Is everyone in acceptance of this change?
Could you read that again,
Read
Moira?
it, yeah.
In the event that an employee opts for a more comprehensive coverage through an alternative, actually, I think we should say alternative plan offered through the insurance carrier, such employee shall be responsible for payment of the difference between the contributions provided by the library for the Luminos plan or rate. Payment of the difference between the contributions provided by the library for the Luminos high deductible plan and the applicable premium rate for the more comprehensive, will pay the premium rate for the more comprehensive coverage. These choices are based on those negotiated by the town. I didn't actually write it, I just made it up.
So if we're striking Blue Cross Blue Shields, does it make sense to include the Luminos by name?
Well,
Just call it-
from my understanding, the Luminos is with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
So that's, I think,
Okay.
it would be a little confusing if we kept the Luminos and took out Blue Cross Blue
Gotcha.
Shield, but,
We could also use the wording high deductible plan or lowest
Yeah.
level plan.
I think high deductible would be the appropriate term,
I-
versus luminous.
Liz, in a minute, we're gonna remember that Dan has information for us, but this is just about the language in this first, before I think we get back to other things.
We had talked, as I said, we had talked about sort of not referencing specific plans so that this can
Right.
age a little better.
Yes, and the other one is the health trust, which we read, might be on its last legs of offering insurance anyway to that, so.
So I'm sorry, Helen, were you suggesting we need more work on this
No,
before?
but I was saying,
No.
Dan had information he wanted to share with us. that
Oh,
we had-
yes, oh,
when
I'm
we had
sorry,
name dropped
Dan,
a
I'm
bunch of
so
times.
sorry.
So, but I
Thank
was just
you.
saying that
Thank you
maybe-
for pointing that
Yeah,
out.
so, well, he waved at me.
Just
Yeah.
on the language part,
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
this language actually came down from Tara, is what she is suggesting that you guys go with, because you are presently using Blue Cross, all right, so that's why you wanna reference Blue Cross to Luminous. Okay, so that's why if you're gonna change it, I think it might create more problems for you. That's my comment.
That's a good point. Thank you so much.
But I have more later.
he is more.
That's
So-
your job.
Yeah.
okay, let me go back to my original email from Tara.
Okay, so
Still
basically,
in my pile.
from what I understand, Dan is saying that this is the official line that's coming in from the town, and it was suggested that we stay consistent with the town and keep this paragraph. Does anyone have any problem with that?
Hold on, maybe.
I think Maura's just looking at something real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
I think she sent it to you, Helen.
It has to do, I'm sorry?
Did she send it to you?
Yep, and I gave it to them last time, when we met last week, so they all have a copy of this. It's in the packet,
Gmail.
Yes,
the
from-
email
from
packet
the
from
last-
Tara.
Page
Yep.
13.
It should be on the, like, last full page, I think, near the top. I think is where we're talking about the part that we looked at tweaking. Just double checking.
I think the paragraph already is murky because it's talking about the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, and then it talks about the Blue Choice plan with one rider, which didn't appear on any of the documents we looked at as far as the names of plans. So I think that we need to think about, let's say, I'd like to see us see if we can't age it better. I mean, what if Blue Cross Blue Shield wasn't the plan of choice, and what if Health Trust is not how we get our insurance? I mean, those are all the question, but I guess we can change this every year, but it seems silly to do so.
Erin?
I feel like, I get what you're saying, Jam and Maura, but I feel like also, like, if we were offered a totally different insurance per se, like, if there was a major change, this probably whole area would be changed because it's gonna be completely different what they're offering. So they may not have a high deductible, they may not have, so we'd have to change this all anyway,
Well,
so.
most insurances now, because of the way the market has changed, most insurance offerings at businesses start with a high deductible plan as well as having additional plans beyond that.
I just, for me, I don't see any harm in keeping the Blue Cross Blue Shield and mentioning that, in the plan, because like I said, if we're gonna have to, if there's a huge change in insurance, this whole section would have to be done up again anyways. More so than just the health insurance, it could change to dental, it could, a lot of things could change, so I feel like keeping it in there right now is more comfortable for me, as a manager and I'm sure as an employee to understand what they're getting. That's just my opinion, but certainly it's up to the board.
Donna?
I just had one more thing that I think there's extra over on the word over is used twice on the first paragraph, last sentence, and unless Tara recommended it that way.
No, I don't think so.
I think the over and should be removed.
Okay, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You don't over and over?
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
So I just double checked everything. The only thing that Tara had asked us specifically had to do with the fact that we had employees hired after a certain date, but we don't have anyone who falls in that category anymore, so that's the parts she wanted us to take out.
We did,
Was
didn't
we did.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to double check. So I think we have stuck to the language that, like, otherwise she didn't suggest anything else. It was just that she wanted us to she suggested removing that part, and that other groups in town were also doing that same kind of format, so that there wouldn't be that kind of issue.
Yeah, so basically the town's recommendation is not to touch that paragraph whatsoever.
Well, no, we just to take out the one part we already did.
Yes, which we already did, yes,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so we've,
Yep.
yeah.
So if we need to wordsmith this a little bit, I think, and
Donna?
I just want to be clear that there are two longevity clauses. One of them there were no employees covered under. The other one there are two employees covered under. One of which is me, which I brought up during public comment.
Okay, but specifically where? So the November 1st, the November 1st.
I don't have the original.
Can you take that out of your binder for a second, just so I can show Donna? We just need the personnel policy. Sorry, I should have brought down the original, but now I'm happy you have the binders. Because I could take it out of there.
It was a good resource, right?
And I will give it back to you, I promise.
The second part of it that she needed you to do was to remove Blue Choice because Blue Choice is no longer an option.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
And we've done that?
And you've done that.
Yes, yeah.
So the longevity clause that nobody falls under is the hired before November 1st of 2004, which is what it started at.
Mm-hmm.
But later in the paragraph, hold on, I'm trying to find it.
For employees hired or promoted before or after July 1, 2018.
That is the one that there are two employees, including me, that are technically still eligible under that longevity clause.
Which I did mention that at the last meeting.
And I do know that Tara did say that the other union contracts and such are moving away from longevity clauses.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know that.
But I think there is, oh no, that's, sorry, I'm confusing.
Okay, so okay, go ahead.
No.
No, I'm just trying to clarify from the second phrasing. So for paragraph 4 in the original personal policy that's in your notebook,
Mm-hmm.
The fourth paragraph says for employees hired or promoted to a full-time position on or after July 1, 2018. The library should contribute toward the cost of health insurance selected by the eligible employee as followed: 100% of the premium for the Luminos high deductible plan for single, two-person, or family coverage. In the event an employee opts for a plan other than Luminos, the employee will pay the additional premium cost over and above the 100% premium cost for the Luminos plan.
Yes, so that is essentially what you're moving towards, the same language.
Okay.
But what I'm covered under is in the first paragraph where it says employees hired after November 1, 2004, and what it doesn't say is before July 1 of 2018, the library shall contribute towards the cost of health insurance selected by the employee at the rate of 75% of the Blue Choice plan. And if you select a more comprehensive plan than that, it's like, I don't know if prorated is the right word, but so that's what I'm
Is there,
eligible for.
Okay, I have
is
a
there
question.
some way to accommodate Donna's request earlier to be incorporated in this plan related to what she's saying, or am I not speaking? I don't want to speak to you.
I am not requesting you to.
Oh.
My request is not to keep the longevity clause. My request was more that the people who were impacted by this decision should have been informed, but also invited to participate in this discussion, which I am glad that I'm here to participate. But another thing too is that I feel like removing the longevity clause, one of the reasonings given for why other contracts are doing that is to make it more equitable for all employees, which I understand that, but if that were true, you'd be adding a longevity benefit that applies to all employees, and that is not the case.
Right.
So it really looks more like
Mm-hmm.
money. The reason is money,
Mm-hmm.
which it is. So that's all
There's
I'll say
people.
on that.
There's people too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just ask one quick question. Go ahead.
You have to ask.
My quick question to you is, financially, what's the hit on you in the change of these two positions, per
So
year?
it's this year. It's I think in the area of about between I don't know the exact number, between $400 and $800 for the year.
Addition,
Right.
okay,
But
without the longevity.
the more the rates go up,
Yeah,
the more that's going to increase.
Yeah.
So
and Nancy,
Jan.
Jen, I know.
Jan, okay.
Jen,
So,
I'm looking at Jen. I'm like, what?
I don't have the numbers from Beth, Tara, for the, Beth, you weren't giving us the numbers. It was Tara who was giving us numbers. If somebody could read us the numbers from last week for the Luminos, for single,
You're looking
two-person and family.
for
As what, for the
for
month as-
effective 7/1/25.
Correct.
Okay. So the email that I have from Tara, that she sent to Helen, this is, as we look forward to the new plan year effective 7/1/25, the cost for these two medical plans to be offered. So Access Blue, you're looking for single.
Sure.
Single is $22,172.88. That's for Access Blue.
Mhm.
For Luminos, a single is $16,946.76. Luminos does have the high deductible,
Mhm.
so I believe that's why that is less. But
Okay,
I'm
and
not
then-
an
and then-
insurance person.
Okay, so we did the single, now could you do the two-person?
So Access Blue two-person is $44,345.76,
44,
4576.
mm-hmm,
Two-person for Luminos is $33,893.52. And for family for Access Blue is $59,866.80. And for Luminos family is $45,756.12.
It's right here if you guys want to look at it.
uh-huh.
Make sure I don't- no other organizations in the town municipality that had a longevity type of thing, and that may be losing it, and how they're handling it?
I don't have the answer to that.
Okay. And is this a question that we should be asking Tara? Is there other groups that are impacted like this, and how they're handling it?
Maybe, but I don't feel like you have the time.
We
to
don't
do
have the
that.
time, and I think some of the groups are union. They had the union negotiations, so I don't know if that
Yeah.
is different in a way. But
Donna, what's your hire date again? Sorry, if we were before.
I'm the like in between, so I'm after November 1st of 2004, but before July 1st of 2018.
Okay, that's where I'm confused too, because I feel like you don't exist in that.
Yeah.
So I understand, but I guess that's why I apologize, because when we went through this last week, I didn't realize that
The impact on
the
some
impact of
employees.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that gut-wise, that we need to go to removing the longevity, but I think that we still have to realize we've got 2 employees that are being financially burdened by that. And is there some type of, we would have to talk to the town lawyers and stuff to find out, is there some kind of compensation package type of thing, a one-time compensation thing that we could, yeah, Donna?
I have a suggestion, and to keep like what you're moving towards.
Yeah.
But I think an area you could consider is the educational benefit, because that's something that hasn't changed in I don't even know how many years, despite inflation, and the cost of education being extremely expensive, and both employees that are affected by this do get the educational benefit, including me, and I think it's not technically a longevity thing. It's not saying like after you've been here so many years you get this, which you could consider too, but I do think it's something you already have in place that you could add something more to, and it's an amount that stays flat. It's not factored into COLA or to our merit, like it's taken out before you factor in either of those, so it's just something that stays stagnant, honestly. And it's been stagnant for a long time, so I think that's an area that you could consider.
Okay, my question to you is, when you're talking about that, you're not talking about longevity for all employees? Are you talking about just a separate extra clause for the 2 impacted employees?
No, I'm saying it would be equitable to everyone who already gets the education benefit, and that does include the 2 employees affected here.
so just to be clear, the educational incentive that you're speaking of, I'm just going to read it from the policy.
What's the
Any
page number?
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the current one I just handed you. It's on page 15. It's called education incentive. It's section 23. It speaks to any employee who has a master's or doctorate degree shall receive an annual education incentive of $500 for a master's degree, $1,000 for a doctorate, provided such degrees are deemed to be directly function related by the library director. Such incentives are not cumulative and shall be payable in weekly installments throughout the year. So currently, there is no one that receives the $1,000. I'll tell you that right now, because doctorate, why? But the 500, the 2 employees that affect us do get that incentive. So I think the suggestion is to raise that amount to kind of offset, I don't know the right words, or to.
Well, if the reason is that you're moving towards something more equitable,
Yeah.
it would be for all employees that have a master's or a doctorate.
So you're talking about
so it would apply to
7
everybody.
employees who would get now an additional.
So right now,
Possibly.
this comes out to 24 cents an additional an hour, because it does not come in when we get our, like she said, it's factored in prior to any merit increase or COLA increase. So it does not factor, it factors in before that. So I think a suggested amount would be to raise the 500 to 750, which would be pennies more to our hourly amount, excuse me.
And so it would be 24 cents an hour more. for 7 employees.
Well, no, right now they get 24 cents an
Oh,
hour.
24.
But if you change it from 500 to 750, I'd have to do math, to be honest. I can try.
What is it?
I guess,
750, that would be an annual. So,
I guess
Yeah, but
I
it's not
wanted
really,
to.
it really, to say it's by hour, I mean, that's kind of a, I mean, I understand to look at it that way
Right.
is interesting, but it's just, it's more of a, this hasn't changed in a while anyway.
right.
And we're taking away something that is a, we're removing one incentive, and we're doing it by fixing an incentive that hasn't been changed in a while. That's all.
Thus making it more equitable.
Liz Moore wanted to say something.
Laura?
So I just wanna ask a clarifying question here. So,
Sure.
under your current longevity clause,
Mhm.
the library pays 75%, you pay 25?
Based on the Blue Choice rate, which no longer exists.
Right.
Yes.
So with open enrollment, they're gonna choose one of the other 2 plans now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know
Right.
what that would be.
Well,
That's
there's
their
only
choice.
2, right?
Right,
Blue
but-
Choice and okay.
Yeah, there's only they'd have to choose one of the 2.
What's hard is the percentages don't really equate anymore because you're getting rid of Blue Choice. So even if you said like, okay, now you get 75% of Access Blue, when you do the math out, it doesn't make sense because,
It's about the same as the other one.
yeah, it's actually a little more than what you're putting in now. So it's hard because there's really no, once you get rid of Blue Choice, it's like hard to give something that's equitable, I think, and I recognize that it is tough.
Our understanding was that no one was on the Blue Choice plan per the email.
No, but my like amount that I contribute is based off of the Blue Choice rate. So I'm not on the Blue Choice, but what I pay is based on the rate for this year. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm struggling with the fact that we have 2 employees that are, are being injured by this, okay? But, okay, kind of the solution is to just increase the amount of money for, by $250 a year for all of the employees that have their, their masters in library science, which would be 7 of you, right? Currently?
No.
No.
No,
8.
6.
6, okay. But I don't see where there's any, I guess, you're saying if you compensate everyone, you would be happy. Does that make sense?
I don't know about happy is.
Oh, you would,
I don't know if
you
happy,
would be
it
more
was
happy.
Overjoyed,
It was my suggestion.
leaping with joy.
Yes.
It was my suggestion to
Yes.
do something with something you already have in place
Yeah,
instead of making a whole new longevity benefit of some kind. That's just where my thought was.
I think it was just
is
the
this something
suggestion
that we
was
need
kind of
to
just an
go
easy
to
way
Human
to.
Resources and suggest this and even?
We don't need to go to human resources for the educational incentive. That's something in your policy that you guys can change whenever you want. That's not a human resources thing. That's a Board of Library Trustees
The thing that we need to do by today is to do the thing about the insurance. The rewording about the insurance. So if we need to,
Defer the conversation on the compensation to another
well,
day.
no, I mean, I think
Yeah.
they all need to be discussed together from our standpoint. But as far as what Tara needs, she just needs us to fix the dates and the percentages, cause those don't make sense anymore. Based on the choices that we do or don't have. And of course, it's gonna not make sense to the employees either, because they're not gonna have the choices of the multiple things, because there's only the 2 plans left. So,
Beth,
Beth Maraco, we were talking about changing the longevity, correct me if I'm wrong, because in like modern time, that is being eliminated across most settings, is that
yes.
why we are encroaching on this?
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to eliminate that, because the whole reason we have this conversation is because it's being phased out anyway, then we could just say, okay, that will be gone, and then look at the idea of modernizing the educational incentive, because if it hasn't been addressed in so long, it would make sense that as we're continuing to revise this whole policy, that would be something we would have to take a look at. So I feel like we're running in circles, and I feel like you can just get past the longevity piece and then continue on the policy. I don't know.
Would you like to make a motion?
Okay, so,
Yeah,
right
I'd
now,
love
we're
a
looking
motion.
at 6 employees that would be affected, and,
More.
yeah, I'll be,
Okay.
yeah, okay, go ahead. Okay, we're talking about 6 employees, so we're talking about increasing their benefit to an additional $250, right? So, per year, the impact against the town's budget will be an additional $1,500. Is that, am I saying that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I guess, you know, I am always reluctant to have anything that's gonna increase our budget, okay? I think that right now, we're salaried, some of our salaries have come down, a couple of salaries because of job changes, okay? So that money is probably already built in there to save, you know, and so it would probably cover the next several years worth of incentives, I would think, you know, if that's where we choose to, you know, to balance that money, okay? So I don't think it would be unreasonable to consider raising it to $750 based on the fact that we have the budget that would cover that, okay? And that I'm reluctant because every time you vote for any kind of raise, then it's gonna be forever.
Mhm.
But again, you know, I mean, I don't think everyone's gonna go to school forever to get in, you know, their masters here. So, I've got first Laura, please.
Do you want to see if the town liaison wants to add anything about any of the health discussion?
Jan, have you gone to
Dan,
sleep
would
over
you
there?
please, can you help us?
Elbow
on
him a
this?
little bit, wake him up.
We're all over this place, I know it.
That's okay. I'm used to that. First of all, I want to commend Donna because, you know, she's gonna be losing like $800 a year, and she's actually looking for you guys to share it with everybody.
Yep.
Which I think is amazing for an employee to do that.
Mhm.
Because usually it would be like, no, what can I get?
Yeah.
All right, and that's not what she's doing. So, I think what you're doing, eliminating that, and her coming up with this idea, I think is a great idea. I think you just do it, move on, so we can move on to the other stuff with the insurance. Unless you want me to talk about it
Thank
now.
you. No,
You know?
your point is
More
we
on-
should, yep.
Go ahead, Laura.
Just out of curiosity, we were never given the Blue Choice figures. Do you have those?
No,
Okay.
no, because not,
Well, they're not going
nobody was
forward.
taking pretty much the Blue Choice. It was up there. I can tell you personally, when I worked for the town, all right, Blue Choice was a great thing because, you know, you go to a doctor and you didn't have no copay, no nothing.
Right.
You know, but you're paying a lot more money. And then the Luminous came along. And when I retired, I have to pay for it 100%. And I was like, oh my goodness, all right? But by taking the Luminos, I know I have a higher deductible, but the premium's a lot lower,
Mm-hmm.
all right? So you're ahead of the game with that,
Mhm.
with the Luminos. So, does that answer anything?
Not really, but.
Not really.
I think-
Anyway.
I think that when we entered in this conversation last week at our special meeting, it opened up a bunch of other ideas and doors, and then we all did some research about other communities and what they had for their library. But I think tonight we need to solve this problem, and then we can look at something else for the future.
Okay.
In terms of other kinds of discussions about other insurance things, but I would feel better if we just tied up these loose ends in here tonight, and that, so we can get that to Tara and be able to move forward. I think Donna's idea is a great one, because I didn't even realize that affected her based on that language, because it's like a little puzzle.
Would you like to make a?
Sure.
I just have a question.
Wait,
Another
okay,
question.
go ahead.
Sorry. So when we're talking about, if we talk about adjusting that educational incentive one, I would not have a problem with it, but I think the educational incentive should be for full-time employees. So that's where I wanna see that, if we were
Oh, you wanna
increasing
just add full-time employees? That currently, the
I-
the
currently
MLS.
it goes to whoever, but what I'm saying is, it goes to whoever has an MLS, whether they're full-time or part-time.
That's what I'm saying, you wanna put the wording in for full-time employees?
Correct.
Okay.
I just want to note that there is one part-time employee that's currently receiving that benefit, and the part-time children's librarian would also
Would.
be in line to receive that benefit.
Jan.
Okay. Make your motion.
All right, well, okay. So,
Madam Chair.
with the exception of like the few tweaks that we needed to make to some of the language and stuff, I make a motion that we make the changes that we discussed last week, highlighted in yellow, with the exception of a couple things that needed to be fixed, so it was grammatically correct. And that we make those changes for the insurance part of this personnel policy.
Sorry.
I would second that motion.
Just to clarify, that would include the effective date of, or the adding of the language
I-
of effective on July 1 of each year.
Yeah, I guess I would like to know exactly what that's supposed to read like, so that I can, cause is it expected that the chair will be sharing this information with Tara?
Oh.
Is that the understanding?
Yeah, and I have it
Okay.
saved for my computer
Okay.
too, so I can fix.
Yeah, so I
this
guess we
too.
need to know what the language will be,
Okay,
so that
so
we
we'll-
can
Yeah.
update the policy and then share that with Tara.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. Okay.
And that's due by tomorrow?
The 11th.
The 11th.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
sooner than,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there before.
because
then.
she asked us to,
Yeah.
so that finance can get their
Okay.
ducks in a row.
So we're gonna go with your suggestion is, Maura, I'll be with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is just to use the terminology that we came up last week.
With the changes
With
that
the changes that were mentioned today.
that were mentioned today,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
But
Maura, Before
Yep.
we,
Before we do that, there was one question I had that's a clarifying question that I think does need to be addressed, because it says an employee's first year contribution shall be prorated based on the date of hire. Payments to the health savings account shall be made in the first pay period in July, which was for people who are already hired, or the first full month after the date of hire. So I'm assuming that's the full amount, is that correct?
That's for the Luminous plan.
That's referring to the health savings
Correct.
But
contribution.
you get the whole HSA amount, it's not a piece of it, right?
No, it's saying it shall be prorated based on
Prorated.
your date of hire.
Yep.
Okay,
So if you're
So-
hired halfway through the year, you're going to get half of the contribution.
but that would be the month following your
It would
hire.
start the month
Okay.
following
Yeah.
your hire.
If you guys have someone hypothetically, and I know it's unlikely, but if for some reason you start someone out and they end up leaving for whatever reason before 90 days or whatever, is there anything in place? Do they still get that funding?
As far as I know, once they have it, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we haven't had that situation. I don't know what would happen.
All right, then that's fine.
My apologies.
Okay.
And where do I need to add the July 1st? Or
So,
July?
I
At the
think-
beginning. Would it be helpful if I just read it? Like
Read what
with
it's
the
supposed to,
changes?
how it's supposed to read.
Sure, I have it open too, so I
Yeah.
can
Okay.
cross-reference it.
Because I do believe you didn't want to move forward with removing the Blue Cross and like the specific terms. Is that correct? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not-
I'll read it the way I'm thinking that it's going to. Effective on July 1 of each year, the library shall contribute towards the cost.
Hold on, pause for a second. She's
So,
got it right.
okay.
Sorry.
First I have to
You
write.
made a face, Helen, that I was like, oh my god, she's overwhelmed.
I'm not, but it's like, well, like, where do I have to add July 1st? Oh, right away. Okay,
Yeah.
good, thanks. Okay. Got
Right away.
it. Okay,
Effective.
good.
Effective on July 1 of each year, the library shall contribute towards the cost of the health insurance selected by eligible full-time employees as follows. 100% premium for Luminos high deductible health plan for the single two-person or family coverage. In the event an employee opts for a plan other than Luminos, the employee will pay the additional premium cost over 100% of the premium of the Luminos plan. There should be no payback of any differential in an individual if an individual chooses a lesser plan. In the event an employee opts for a more comprehensive coverage through an alternative Blue Cross Blue Shield plan offered through the Health Trust, such employee shall be responsible for payment of the difference between contributions provided by the library for Luminos and the applicable premium rate for the more comprehensive coverage. These choices are based on those negotiated by the town. For employees who opt to participate in the Luminos plan, the library shall contribute to the employee's health savings account as follows: 1,000 single coverage or 2,000 two-person or family coverage. An employee's first-year contribution shall be prorated based on the date of hire. Payments to the health savings account shall be made in the first pay period in July or in the first full month after the date of hire.
Okay, we still have a motion?
Well, there's a motion and there's a second, but I think she's gonna have to rescind her motion because we just made a change.
Changes.
Okay.
So do you wanna rescind your motion?
Sure, I rescind my motion.
And I'll rescind my second and we'll
Okay.
start again.
Okay, so now that we've made the appropriate changes that we think we need to make, I move that we adopt these changes and send them to HR so that we can be in compliance with the insurance
That's correct.
needs.
I second.
Okay, can we take a vote, Beth?
Sorry, what am I supposed to
We're
You have to
voting on
say
the
aye.
changes that we, just say.
Do you say yes?
Just say
You
aye.
can-
South America, aye.
I'm just
Nancy
kidding.
Hendricks, aye.
Helen Palmieri, aye.
Maura Ryan, aye.
The
Yes.
changes that
Jan
she-
McLaughlin, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye.
We're starting from that end for a while, and then it's like, all of a sudden being like,
Change it.
yeah, but you're changing the direction. Brain's not ready.
Keep writing, keep writing.
I know,
Okay,
just secretary.
now we
Um,
have the terminology
now-
that
so-
we need to get to Tara.
Yes.
So we've met, we have open issues. I think these issues probably, we're not ready to close, probably need to be considered. I'm not sure that tonight's the night to try to continue here.
Can I just say, so Helen, is it am I understanding that you will email that to me?
Yep.
I can update the
Yep.
policy, and this policy will be updated with those changes, so going forward, and then am I to share that with you so that you can share it with Tara?
Yes, with Tara.
Okay, I will do that. Yes. What did I-
And with, yes, Jan?
So the question is, with that change,
Yes.
the policy is updated as of today.
Yep.
Yep.
But that does not mean that we have finished any discussions on the
No.
policy. We can still bring forward a proposal for, looking at the
Compensation
educational.
for education.
Yes, we
educational
can always go back to the
Yeah.
policy and make changes. In this particular instance, I just wanna make sure this changes.
that we
We're gonna have a
understood
revision date of today
on this.
of the policy, so we can meet the town's
Right.
guidelines of deadline.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna revisit this and continue working on discussing the
Right,
compensation change
that's how I
memo.
understand it, yep.
Yes, okay,
Okay.
everyone's in agreement with that, that's where we left it, right? Okay,
Okay, thank you,
All right.
Helen, for doing that.
okay, can we move
Oh
on
my
to
God. A
IMLS?
miracle just took place, okay. Oh, that's fast, yes. Oh.
Can I just say something?
Yep.
Okay.
Dan?
Yes. So, I watched the meeting, and I saw you guys doing a lot of discussion, so I did a little homework for you to try to help you out with this insurance.
Okay,
Okay, because there was talk about, well, can we go to the school system?
Right.
All right, because, you know, they might have a lower rate. So I'm just gonna give you a little education here, a little
Good.
history, all right?
thank you.
Years ago, I don't know if Nancy, you remember that, if you were on the school board.
I was on the school board since God made dirt, so,
So, I know that the town and the school looked at
yeah.
joining everything
Yeah.
together to try to get a better rate for everybody. And it didn't work, because they're two different entities, all right? You guys fall under the town, all right? So you would not be able to go to the school to get your insurance,
Correct.
because everything is with the town, with your payroll, your long-term disability, short-term disability, everything is there. So that's not an option. And I know that there was talk about, well, can we go privately on our own? All right, so I brought that up to Tara as well, and we looked at that. I think you would find that since you're such a small group, all right, your rate might be a lot more. The rate on the town side is higher than the school side, all right? And the reason for that is the town is a higher risk pool. You have DPW, police, fire, more injuries there than on the school side, where teachers are not underneath trucks, they're not fighting with domestics, they're not
No.
climbing ladders and stuff like that. So, I, personally, myself, when I worked for the town, all right, my insurance was a lot higher than my wife, who was a teacher in Manchester. And then the town came along and said, you know what, we'll give you an incentive, all right, and I know this was discussed, and I want to touch base a little bit on this. We'll give you an incentive not to take the insurance. Some people look at that and say, oh my goodness, that's a bad thing. We should not be giving you money for not taking our insurance. And I remember the town used to do that, and then they reduced it because somebody on the council was like, that's not fair, I don't get it in my job, all right? Well, I look at it as far as economics, okay? And if you look at these prices of insurance, like Luminos, a two-person, cost you $33,000 a year.
Yeah.
All right? So, when we got offered the buyout on the town side, I went to my wife, who was working in Manchester, and I said, let's get on your insurance, okay? I got a buyback, but the town saved a lot of money. So, I know it's hard sometimes to say to somebody, we're gonna give you $2,500 if you don't take it, but if you take a Luminos plan of $33,000 and the town is saving $31,000, that's pretty good, you know, good deal.
Good, thank you for that.
So, I mean, I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit, and let you know that I did look into if you could go to the school, because I know their rates are cheaper. And I also looked at what's your thought about going on the outside, you know?
They're also unionized,
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
makes a huge difference.
Yes,
And I was like, do we wanna go union? No, thank you.
no, thank you,
You
okay.
know?
No, but
Right.
the other issue is though, is we, do all those things with the town
Yeah.
because of, that's the way it's always been done in Londonderry.
Yep.
Versus, the RSA's state that the library is independent. Which state? And the library, we have obviously should have an MOU with the town saying what the town will or won't cover. But, in Londonderry, the money between the town and the library has been much more closely mingled than it is necessarily by law or by practice in many other towns.
And I agree, Jan, and I wanna touch a little bit on that, okay, since you brought that up.
Yes.
Okay, because if you look at the structure, that they did, the organizational chart,
Mhm.
all right? You have the town of Londonderry is at the top. Then you have the town council,
Mhm.
and you have the library trustees.
Mhm.
You're just as equal as the town council. So, through the years, what I've noticed, okay, living in town since 1979, it's always been that you guys are totally separate.
Mhm.
Yes, you bring your budget to the town council, okay? We can make recommendations, you don't have to take it,
Right.
okay? I can't say to you, I want you to cut 30,000 out of your salary.
Gee, it's a surprise that you can say that.
No, I mean, and I think some people don't understand that, all right? And, you know, that's why I kinda jumped in on being your liaison to the library.
Thank you.
Because I'm saying, all right, some people, for whatever reason through the years, have thought that we can tell you guys what to do,
Mhm.
all right? And we can't.
Cause we're
All right.
not just a board, we're not just a department
That's
of
right.
the town.
You're your own independent trustees.
Sure.
You have your own budget, you control the budget, and, you know, if you go over budget, that's on you guys, not on us, you know? And,
But you have to cover us.
you know, but the thing is, it's, you know, again, it comes down to, not being able to tell you guys, you have to cut so much out of this or that. Your line items, and when you were talking about your line items, straightening them out, I fully understand, we have the same problem on the other end. You know, we have our issues there with line items that have been ignored for years, and, you know, so, I just wanted to just touch base with that and just let you know where I'm coming from, all right? because for years, I've always, believed the library's on their own. I've been told that by previous library trustees for years, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, we're gonna tell you what to do, and no.
Well,
So-
thank you for that, that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean,
No, we
I
don't
don't
have
mind
to get
coming.
pushed, we don't have to get pushed around anymore?
No, I don't mind coming to your
We'll be
meetings.
directing all those comments to you.
Yeah, there you go.
Please see
Around
Dan.
budget time.
Please see
Dan, do you remember the time
I
you
have
told
no
us?
problem doing
Yeah,
that.
on
I
the
mean,
recording.
that's why I signed
Thank
up
you.
for this. But you will find that with me, if you ask me something, like you asked me, I don't have the answer. I can find out the answer.
Yep.
So when I watched your meeting the other day, I heard my name thrown around a lot. All right, and I'm like, okay, but I didn't hear from anybody. I took it up on myself
Thank you.
to
Thank
go
you.
and research this for the insurance, because like I said to Tara, I said, I think I'm on the right page. She goes, yep, you're on the right page, because I wanted to understand that, knowing the history of going with the school and everything else. And it's unfortunate, I mean, when you retire and you have to pay for the entire insurance, and I've talked to the council before going, how do we lower the insurance? Because when you're taking it all out of your own pocket, it's expensive.
It is.
And people will say, oh my goodness, we're paying all this insurance. Well, I've talked to Tara, and she's constantly looking at ways to cut the insurance. And, I know Health Trust, you mentioned Health Trust. Health Trust, we have other options to go beyond Health Trust if something happens. So it's not like we're gonna be stuck. So, all right?
Well, and so, I have the other question was about not being able to go with the school.
Yeah.
I mean, last I checked, our people aren't driving trucks or climbing, well, they might be climbing little ladders, but they're not climbing big ladders.
But you're in a,
So-
Very high
you're
risk.
in a
So,
pool, Janet.
I know, but we're in a pool with people that might not necessarily be,
Yeah,
you know.
it's just like,
We're offsetting the DPW people that are climbing the ladders and the trees and stuff, cause
Right.
our people don't.
yeah, but it's just like our town clerks and all that have our insurance.
Mhm.
They're in the same boat as library people.
Yeah.
They're inside a building and stuff, and, they're lower risk.
Okay.
Aaron?
Yes, Maura.
I'm sorry. Who do I listen to?
Go ahead.
Oh.
I just want to say,
Oh, she got a
I think in what I understand it, and certainly anybody can tell me wrong, but if the library was to get their own insurance, all of that research, all of that documentation would be on you guys. Just a heads up.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's a lot of work. I know Tara, I'll speak for Tara's amazing. She does a lot of hard work for the town
Yes.
related to all of that, and it's a full-time job for her. And so I would caution the trustees entertaining that, because it would be a challenging
Yes,
job
yeah.
for you guys.
Maura, did you have something for Dan?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I know you said that you looked into this. I think it is something that we should try and revisit, and the reason why is because in researching other towns, I found that there were towns who were able to do that, and they were able to make it work, and I think we do need to try and offer some level of relief, because as you said, the health insurance costs are high, so it's the employees as well as the taxpayers. But the other piece of this is, as far as Health Trust, their actuary gave testimony that they don't have the funds to cover the risk that they have, which is a very big problem, and we really have to keep that in mind. So we may need to look for other things anyway. And I don't know what process they went through for shopping, because we're not privy to that, but Liz, we may want to bring Justin in and have him discuss some of that with us.
Okay.
I know when I talked to Tara, I asked her that question. I said, well, what happens if Health Trust, folds?
So, Madam
She
Chair,
had other.
which towns joined with their school systems? Cause I would love to talk with them.
Yeah,
I
me too.
can get you, I don't
Well,
have
you
it
said
with
you
me
had,
right
you
now.
had it.
No, I don't have it with me this second. I have it at home, because I was doing research.
Oh, I thought maybe you would remembered which street was funded, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
cause
you could send that to me, that would
Yeah.
be great. Here in the state of New Hampshire,
Oh, that's interesting.
I would love to know.
yeah, cause
It's
I know
not
that
all of
got
them, but it
visited by
is
the
a few.
town
I'm
and
gonna
school
send you
years
an
ago.
email right now just to remind you, because I think that would be fabulous.
I'm curious
If we
too,
could ever
'cause-
make that happen.
I was more worried about getting the paperwork for the other thing, town individual information.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it's 5 minutes of 10.
it sure is.
The finish line is in sight. We have 2 things left under new business.
Mm-hmm.
Can we move them?
Do you
Yes.
think we can keep, well, do you think we
Yes.
can move through this quickly?
Yes,
Do you need
yeah.
me for anything?
Oh,
Okay.
thank you,
All right,
Jan.
Feel free to
we have,
contact
we know
me
where we're
anytime.
going.
Thank you, Dan, we
We're gonna
appreciate
get
it.
Tara. Okay, we're gonna move on to the IMLS petition.
So in your packet, I also sent it to you all, was the statement that I put out regarding the executive order, regarding IMLS from the president. This is still, there seems to be some confusion. This is still on the table. There's a possibility that this can still happen. What is off the table was cutting all funding for libraries, related to this. So this, for the state library, excuse me, yes. So this is still on the table. This is very concerning, as stated in the statement. This will affect our interlibrary loan service through the state. So we would most likely have to pay on our own if we wanted to have things mailed from another library and do all of that communication, from my understanding, on our own. That's a huge deal. It's a huge cost. I'm going to step back for a moment and say I'm thankful that I pushed to join GMILKS, because that is in our budget, and we will be able to offer an interlibrary loan service to our patrons if this actually happens. Moving forward with that, it will also affect our Libby a database, which I don't have the numbers in front of me, but is a huge use for our patrons, as well as patrons throughout the state of New Hampshire. That comes from the state. If we wanted to continue that service, I can't even think of what the cost would be, but it would be a lot. It would be a lot. This also affects Talking Book Services, and that's for the blind and print disabled, which, again, a huge hit for them, being that there isn't a lot out there for them that is free. They get this service for free. So I think as trustees, it's very concerning, that you should be concerned that this is happening, and that this is on the table. And with that, I would like to share the other piece of paper that's in there. It's called a petition to support the federal funding of the state library. So some libraries, and this is just a sample of other libraries have put together, but some libraries have put this on their desks for patrons to sign, where they would sign it and we would submit it to, on their behalf. I don't exactly remember where they submit it to, it's in the email, but we would submit on their behalf of the support, and these are signatures to support the funding of the state library. So tonight, I'm bringing this to your attention even more so because I think you guys should be aware of it and you should be very concerned. And as I am and actually my whole staff is very concerned about this, but also to get your support in putting this petition out for our patrons to sign. I think it's important that we communicate to our patrons what they can do to, we get the questions, we've gotten questions since this whole thing has happened, even before and we were late in putting our statement out, to be honest. We were late, and I think that looked bad, but nonetheless, I think our patrons are asking us, what can they do to help? What should we do? How do we help the libraries? How do we help the state library? And I think this is part of it, but I think I would like the trustees to support us giving patrons material and basically not, having it available to them so they can contact the people that they want to contact to support the library. So it's just to start the discussion, but I would like this to be out as soon as possible. So that's all.
Nancy?
So first of all, it saddens me to my soul that libraries have now become part of the political climate and culture. And it sickens me that we have to stand up and fight this hard for a public library. So for myself personally, I would say if you have a means of engaging our patrons to help us support and protect our Leach Library, I am all for it.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And Jan?
So, I want to know if this has been amended to take out the part that the executive order calls for the elimination of the functions of the Institute of Museum and Library Services, since you just said that has changed.
No, that is still in place. There was an additional.
Joe Sweeney has submitted a proposal to physically shut down the state library.
But that was killed in committee.
But that
And
was killed, that's what I'm
killed in
saying.
committee.
So I'm
That's
just
what she was-
clarifying,
I think
yeah.
that's what you're referring to, the
I'm
state
cl- I was
proposal.
clarifying that this is still happening, but that is not.
Yes.
Okay, so, well,
that's-
it just.
So
it
this
was-
is
it was
still
all
accurate.
discussed as-
Yeah, that's still active and correct,
Okay.
yeah. Donna?
I just wanted to add a little more information
Yep.
that we would not be soliciting signatures on this petition at all.
Right.
It is only available if someone asks us or sees it themselves and wants to sign it. That's it. The other thing is that we were notified today that there is the final deadline for us to submit that petition is April 13th. So it would only be out for like a week and a half. So we're not talking a long term here.
No, I think, are we ready to make a proposal?
Well, I want to say
Nancy?
one-
Oh, wait, Laura, did you have a question?
I don't have a question. I'm concerned because I think this comes very close to political lobbying, and that could disqualify us from grants and other things in the future, and it could potentially be off-putting to patrons. I'm just gonna say that, and then you guys can go ahead and vote.
I'm not worried about that at all. Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we empower the staff at the library to place this petition and have it available if people would like to support the library.
Second.
Okay, Beth, vote.
Morocco, aye.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Helen Palmieri, aye.
Maura Ryan abstain.
Jan McLaughlin, no.
I think I feel like you talked about, can you not abstain because you're here? Like, I thought you either have to vote yes or no.
No, you can abstain.
I thought this
No,
was-
you can abstain.
Okay.
This is a tough one. It's a really tough one. I hate to do this. I'm gonna have to abstain because I don't wanna risk, I think that it gets murky when you start getting in politics. It really does. And unfortunately, I think it's horrendous that this could be happening.
It is.
But by the same token, I feel that, that it's too politicized.
But
And it
it's
shouldn't be.
policy, it's not,
It shouldn't be politicized at all.
but I
you
don't
know.
see this as addressing politics as much
Yeah.
as policy.
Yes, go ahead.
Do my best. I think in this case, this is going to be affecting services to our patrons that may not be aware that it's happening. And when it does happen, I feel like they're gonna say, why didn't you guys tell us to do something, or what could we have done? And we're gonna have that moment where we're gonna say, we could have,
Yeah.
but we decided not to give you that opportunity. I think
yeah.
I struggle as someone who is a huge advocate, obviously, of libraries and services to my patrons, where if this goes through, which I pray that it does not, we will hear more from in my opinion, I think we'll hear more from the community of how upsetting this is than if we did something. And there are libraries who are putting this out for patrons to sign. There are libraries who are creating bookmarks and putting in bookmarks with contact information of who they should contact. So they're doing more, and I personally think it's our responsibility as an institution of information and literature to supply that information to our patrons. And they can do whatever they want with it, but to let them know that this is happening and this is going to affect every single person in our community. That's my opinion. I know it's up to the board, but if you're talking about advocacy and supporting a mission of our library, which is what you were all elected to do, this is all part of that. And it's an important piece, in my opinion.
So, okay, part of being a library trustee is not to advocate for the library. I know the NHLTA says that, and it's an ideal, but we have a responsibility to the taxpayers as well. And I understand your position, I do. But the thing is, state employees are not allowed to lobby for this very reason because it represents a conflict of interest.
She's not a state employee.
I'm not a
I
state.
know that, but that's
Okay,
been the
just saying,
standard
just
set.
saying, she's not a state employee.
So I
So
But
she
I
can lobby
I
for
also
whatever she
think,
wants.
and I totally get where you're coming from as well, like that you guys have a responsibility to the taxpayers, but this will affect your taxpayers. This will cost them more, and that's where I'm coming from.
Jan?
and I understand, Aaron, where you're coming from, and I can tell you why I'm voting no, is because this line right here, this furthermore, okay, I'd like to see us do something about, talking to the state about the state funding of library, and as well as any of the other services. The state siphons the federal dollars and just says, oh, we're doing this in our state, but we really aren't. You know, we took we made a motion, there was a vote, actually it passed, if my count is correct. So it did pass, so I don't think we really need to discuss it any further, that I think this will be available, but, you know, whether it's a good idea or not is that point.
Okay.
So that, to be clear, there were 3 yeses, there were 2 abstentions and 1 no.
And 1 no,
So
that's
it
correct,
passes.
so the vote passed. Okay, yes, absolutely. And again, I think this was a tough decision for everyone. This is not normal. And, you know, our responsibility
Libraries should
is
not
to
be
protect, you know, the
And
library.
privately distribute this
But-
to people as well.
You can always do that.
You can do that, John. Yeah, sure.
Do you,
You can do whatever, you can do whatever you want.
As individuals,
As
because
individuals, you can do that.
do we want to
support the
consider
library.
taking out that 1 paragraph about
No,
this?
I'm just
No,
saying,
let's just move on.
I'm just saying,
Okay,
yes.
just leave
Okay.
it,
Pump this
okay.
out.
But
All right.
individuals certainly could
The last,
circulate it.
okay, the next thing.
So the last thing is the circulation librarian, as we discussed at the last meeting, and this could be quick. You guys approved the circulation librarian. We had a hope, and I did ask if we could post that April 1st. I believe it was Maura's task to find out from HR if we can post that internally. I reached out to you, Maura, a couple times. I didn't hear back because I think you were still trying to find that out. Did you find anything out?
It took a while to get the answer, but I did finally get an answer. I actually did email everybody. I don't know if you've read it.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get the email. Okay.
So I got 2 conflicting answers from HR. So I went to the town manager and asked him to ask the attorney. And the attorney's opinion was that we have to be transparent throughout the whole process. So that means we have to have everybody have everything has to be transparent and above board and open. So that was their opinion, and
So what does that mean?
that's it.
I guess for where I'm at with this position.
So the
Can
way
I-
I interpreted what the attorney said was that we should just post it.
Internally?
No, just post it.
Post it.
Okay, because I did ask HR as well, and I was told that there's no illegal issue to post it internally. And they have done that same practice for years. We have done that same practice for years, so I guess I'm conflicted now.
Well, the issue I think is because the town has the union contracts, they have the ability to do it internally because of the union contracts, but we don't have that, and that made the difference.
I thought it was because we didn't have union contracts that we could do whatever we want. The union contracts usually say that they have to do the internal and then the external, where we don't have that, so we could do whatever we want. That's my
Right,
understanding.
and they said we should be as transparent as possible throughout the process, that anybody who's in a protected class can actually apply.
Okay, one quick question. Who did you speak with, Maura?
So I spoke with 2 people in HR, and then I went to the town manager, who went to the town attorney and asked
HR here or HR somewhere else?
HR in the town hall.
Okay.
So actually, 4 people in our town hall, in leadership in the town hall, suggested it needs to be outside posted, correct?
The attorney suggested that.
Yes, yeah, okay.
You're trying to.
Yes, Donna?
If the argument is that you have to do it transparently, we are, like, you're giving opportunity for the public to comment on this at 2 meetings.
Mhm.
It's transparent that we're gonna post it internally only. I don't feel like the transparent argument is for posting it in both places, personally.
Are we posting internally because we want to recruit from the bench?
We are posting internally because to my understanding, there will be someone internal that will be applying. And the reason that I am advocating for this so hard is because the board has come to me and said, what do you offer your staff now? And here I am offering it to them now, and now I'm getting told, don't do that. So it's confusing to me what the expectation from the board
I
is.
think I could recruit from the bench. I'm sorry,
What'd you say?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, you're asking me to come up?
Not me.
Dan?
Oh,
I can
Hey,
check,
excuse me,
I can
Dan?
check with the town manager and get clarification for you if you want, just It's up to you.
If you want.
Please do so.
So,
Okay, that's fine.
I make a motion that we post it internally because they were already behind in them wanting to hire for this position. We got put off by a chunk of time. They wanted to post it by April 1st and now it's already April 2nd.
I second that motion.
Because we
And
spent,
if for
we
some,
spent 3 weeks
if-
on insurance.
right, if for some reason we can't, based on advice, then we will revisit this, okay?
Well, it'll be,
We can
the
have-
horse will be out of the
Well,
barn
we'll
by
have to
then,
have a
but.
special meeting.
It's already
you
in.
know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm okay with posting it
Mara?
internally.
So I think the concern is just, it's just, if somebody perceives it in such a way as they're not being given an opportunity to apply, I think that's where we have the liability. So with regard to that, there is a liability, so just keep that in mind, that's all.
Do we have a?
We have a motion, we have a
There's a
second.
motion and a second on the table.
Okay, we're gonna take a vote, Beth?
Pat Morocco, aye.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Ellen Palmieri, aye.
More, I know.
Jan McLaughlin, no.
Liz Thomas, aye.
There you go.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a leap of faith, that's all you can do. Okay, I know it's almost 1:15, so unless you wanna do a really
No.
quick decision and you already know you wanna
No.
go for,
No.
okay, alternatives, then we're gonna defer that till next
Oh,
month.
I was actually gonna say,
Okay.
let's make a motion to vote for alternatives and put in names.
Okay, all right,
Next week,
Um,
next time.
okay. I don't know how to say this. The alternatives, my motion was to defer to the number of ballots and the next 2 people who would have.
Yeah, that's in your,
elected.
I put the ballots in your
Yes,
packet.
okay.
Yep.
So, but Maura, I understand you wanted to submit a name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you do. I understand perfectly. I just think that we really need to defer to the wishes of the town voters at this time.
Well-
It would be my thing.
Well, I, you know,
That's why
I
we should,
don't
let's,
even have
let's,
enough
wait-
information.
That's
let's wait,
what I'm
let's wait and
saying.
discuss it next time.
Yeah.
I say, because the other thing is that, you know, if we're talking 10 votes, we're not talking like hundreds of votes in between people. So I mean, it's like, I'm not sure that it's deferring to the will of the people.
The other person, I believe, probably lost by more than 50 or 60 votes.
Well, they also may not wanna do it, I think
No,
that,
they may not,
you
yeah.
know, I think that if we're gonna talk about it, if we wanna have alternates, we decide that first and then we do names.
Right.
Right.
Okay, do we wanna do that, and do
No.
you want
No.
me? No, you don't wanna do anything. Okay, let's defer this until next month, okay?
Okay,
This'll be
we'll
on the
carry that.
schedule for next month.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
No,
adjourn.
there's public
Oh,
comment.
No,
Oh,
public comment.
comments.
Wait.
I am so
Public
sorry.
comment.
Well, I was off for a while here, but I didn't know if I was.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Public comments.
Liz, I will get you the answer tomorrow for that.
Thank you very much. Public comment now. Our meetings are too long, I know.
I didn't want to raise my hand because by protocol I should wait for public comment, so, but I heard a lot of things going on here that I think I can offer some perspective. First, what I want to say is,
Can you just say your name and address for
Doug
the
Thomas,
record?
143 Mammoth Road.
I know who you
In deference to what was said here, I've noticed there are a lot of things that were done because that's the way they used to be done by the previous boards. And we've heard some new information in the last several months. We have a new board now. And I think it's incumbent upon the board to look at changing some things in accordance with the best commercial practices, shall we say, on how to run boards and everything. So I don't think it's I don't think it's bad for the board to begin new things just because they were done before in the past may not have been perhaps the way they should have been done. That was my leading statement. What I was going to talk about was a lot of talk about the budget. Okay, I'm not well versed in what's in the budget, but I am versed in how the process works. And right now, the budget is on the verge of being voted by the House. We just got an email today. They're saying no changes. People are screaming about certain things. It's too late to make changes into the House budget. But bear this in mind. The governor gives us the budget first. She's not going to get what she's asking for. It just never happens. The House works on the budget for several months based on what they think revenues are coming in. That's information that is early, but that's the best information that we have. The budget is going to be made based on that information, and from what I've heard, everybody is going to get cut something, but no one is going to be zero. So they're going to spread it out. The bright side is that the House has to vote on the budget next week. If we don't, the budget doesn't move forward. And so we don't want to hold it up. So the budget will get voted on next week. If it passes, and I hope it does, because again, nothing happens unless the budget is voted, because the budget then moves to the Senate. The Senate has the advantage of having more time to look into the budget. By then, they know they have a clear picture of the revenues that are coming in. The revenues may be more than we estimate, and they could be less, but they will have a better picture. My point for saying this is, if you are going to yell and scream about the library, and I will say that when I first heard about Joe Sweeney's proposal, I made a phone call to the speaker and I said, you can't cut the state library.
Thank you.
You know, that's what you can't do. And to correct the record, Joe Sweeney withdrew his motion. It wasn't voted against, but he just withdrew it. A ton of people called in.
Yes.
That pressure caused him to withdraw that motion. So my point is, if you're going to make a point on the other issues, you have to start speaking to the senators. In our case, Senator Carson. And if you want to have people call and say, this is too valuable, we can't cut this, we shouldn't cut that, speak to the senators. Because they're the ones that are going to have the power right now.
May I ask a question? Is this the budget that I read that's going to suggest taking $80 million out of the university system?
I don't know the figure, because I'm not working on the finance
The
committee.
first figure I saw was 40, and then I saw 50,
Right.
and today I saw 80.
I'm sure we'll hear about that next week.
And that's a really big bite.
But I did hear that everybody is going to get cuts, including the university
And do
system.
they know where those cuts are gonna come?
They don't tell you that.
Right. How smart is that?
When we started the year,
Smart.
they're looking at a $500 million deficit, and that money has to come somewhere. But again, I'm not working the finance. They're the ones doing it, but money's got to come somewhere. Now, by the time the Senate gets it, more revenues may come in. The cuts may have to be less. But my point was, start talking to your senators.
Yeah.
All right, and after the senators get done with it, by June, they'll give their budget back to us, and then we have to reconcile, and the budget has to be passed by the end of June. Otherwise, we're going to continuing resolution.
We start talking to you guys at the end
Right.
of May, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, again, that's the process. So start talking to your senators, because it's too late for the House now.
Okay.
So
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Can I, I'm sorry,
I'm done.
okay.
Madam Chair,
Um,
may I make a motion to
what-
adjourn?
Can I just say one really quick? I'm sorry.
Maybe there's
So you all have your binders. You all have your binders.
Yes,
And
thank you.
congratulations. So here in the front is the new trustee packet binder. The highlighted items are missing from your binder. They will be coming. It's a work in progress. I just want to say, when there are updates to policies and things, you will be getting copies of these. It's your responsibility, if you choose to keep it in the binder and keep that updated. I'm no longer responsible for this binder. In fact, I'm very happy to have it all out of my office because it was a lot.
It is.
But you will be getting the highlighted items as soon as they're ready. So
Thank you.
the majority is there. That's all I
Thank you.
wanted to say. You can now make your motion.
Madam Chair, make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Is there nobody else to do public comment?
Beth, do you want to vote? Wait.
Point of order?
What?
What?
Did you make sure that there was nobody else that wanted public
Oh,
comment?
I'm sorry, public comment. Were there any other public comments?
Just checking.
We're very tired.
You're very tired, you'd like to go home to bed.
Oh.
And we should supply pillows and cocoa next time.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta make a motion.
Let's
We
go
gotta
now.
make that motion.
Okay.
All right, Nancy made
I
a motion,
think
I
we-
seconded it. I mean, mine is all.
Second,
Aye,
aye.
Nancy Kendricks.
Aye.
Jan,
Aye.
I think we got us all. Okay, thank you.
10:18.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your
Thank you.